Okay.
But I gave you the login credentials and all that stuff before, right? Did that not work that one time?
That did not work. That's correct.
All right. Well, the links I sent when I set it up for it to work, you could have just logged into it. We'll work on that. We'll discuss it at the board meeting.
Where do the recordings show up? After everything's over and the next day, how do you access the recordings?
You go to the YouTube link. That's why if we're using the right account, we record it live on YouTube. So if people couldn't log in, they could watch it live on YouTube. But secondly, it automatically records it on YouTube.
Okay.
And I don't have to
So,
touch it. It just happens.
yeah.
Now I'll have to upload the thing.
So uh, on the Zoom feature, where are the recordings?
Well, there's two. When you can click on Zoom, you can say record to computer and then it'll store it locally on your computer. Or you can store it on the cloud, but I forget how many gigabytes of space you get without paying for more. And you want to constantly delete them.
Yeah. There's Robert.
Where
Hello,
is your
Bob.
picture from, Bob?
He's
You're muted.
muted. Yeah.
I didn't notice that I was muted.
Where's your picture from?
Yosemite, in
Is
the
it?
winter. It's not one I took. It's one I found someplace.
Yeah.
Hard to make big body like mine disappear. What are you in Arizona or someplace?
I'm in Telluride right now.
Okay, I'm not sure where that is.
Telluride, Colorado. It's on the western slope.
Oh, okay. Just not familiar with that town
Well,
or
it's because
locality.
it's an old mining town and it's primarily a ski town.
Ah, yeah, I've been in Colorado, but never in the western part. And it was 50 or 60 years ago, Ken. The Air Force Academy was still under construction.
Oh, really? Boy, I thought it'd
Yeah,
been there forever.
one of my uncles was a career Air Force, and he was one of the original instructors at the academy. I think was he a seasoned captain or a fresh major at the time? I forget.
So
He retired as a full colonel, but
it didn't exist until they built it. There wasn't an Air Force. Well, I guess yeah, because the Air Force wasn't
right,
that old because it used to be part of the Army.
right,
Then the Army Air Force, and then
yeah, 1948 is when the Air Force was created. While the academy was under construction, they were borrowing a junior college up in Denver, and first couple of years he was teaching courses there. He was living in Colorado Springs, and commuting up to Denver to teach classes.
Wow.
Of course, I was just a fat little nine-year-old at the time.
Okay, Bob, I came in late. Who are you talking about?
Oh, one of my uncles. We're talking about the Air Force Academy.
Because I'm in Colorado is how it came up.
Oh,
That was Sunset and Telluride night before last, right behind me.
yeah. But during World War II, my dad was a telecommunications guy, if you call it that, on the those planes that had the plexiglass turrets. You know, do you know them, like in Memphis Belle?
Yeah, B-29s.
Whatever, but he did all the communications so that they could talk to the pilots and stuff. That's, yeah. But he didn't get any GI benefits, but that's a whole different story.
Hey, there's our official host, Mr. Pete. And you're muted, Pete.
Hello.
There you go.
Who's that? Ken Spencer, or is that a video? That's like he's just playing.
Yeah, no, yes. I'll say yes, and then I have one that says no.
yeah. It's like a soundboard.
I thought you couldn't make it, Ken.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't sure if I would be able to. I'm going to make the board meeting, but I'm. It's been a pretty long road trip, and I'm taking today off from skiing. So, and it would probably be crowded anyway. So.
Well, welcome.
He's got to rest that old body.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the altitude got to me a little bit.
Ah, makes sense.
Because I'm at 9,000 feet right now where I'm staying, but it's the base elevation is 10,000 of the mountain, and it goes up over 12.
Well, it's pretty early in the morning for y'all. I'm excited. I like these smaller groups because that means we can deep dive into some things. So that's good. How many do we have? 14?
I think there's some people still parking their cars.
Hey, Pete, it sounds like you've added some words, some Southern words to your vocabulary.
Yeah, they're creeping in. I can't resist.
That's a very handy phrase, actually.
Yeah, it does. It mashes up two important words.
Well, the Georgia accent, I always say it sounds like honey dripping off the end of someone's tongue. The way they speak.
Yeah.
Hey, nice background, Al.
The curve of that blue outside apple has a strange resemblance to a VR headset.
Which one? The blue? Oh, yeah. Ooh.
That the symbol for next Tuesday's Dog and Pony Show?
Yep, that's the one. Come on, let's go. Out.
I swear Randy has a different background every time he signs on. You're muted, Randy.
Thank you. Yeah, I always try to find something. I think Al's with the VR headset, superb.
Anybody doing this 23andMe, like ancestry, DNA profiling?
Yep.
Yep.
Anybody had any cool surprises?
Yep.
Thank goodness, no.
Bob said yep. What do you got, Bob?
Well, it was not a perfect surprise, but I finally found a connection. When my mother's side, when the family came from Turkey in the early 1900s, my grandfather had four brothers or five, I forget right now, but two of them decided they liked France. They stayed in Marseille, and we lost all connection to them. a couple months ago, all of a sudden I made a connection with a guy he's a fourth cousin, but we're related via the grandfathers, and he lives in Marseille, speaks perfect English. But
Oh, that is a nice surprise.
yeah, so we've been helping each other. You know, I've been able to give him a lot of information, and vice versa. So I've been doing genealogy stuff for probably 25, 30 years now.
Bob,
Pete, did you do the health one too, Pete?
Yeah, yep, I did the health one. The DNA one, turns out I have a brother.
A what?
Yeah, I have a brother. My father fathered a child at age 16 that he didn't know about. Yeah, that nobody knew about. We just found out yesterday. I have a brother. He has 2 kids. And my father just found out he has another son, and he didn't know his whole life.
Wow. Now
Isn't that
that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he grew up with his mother's husband as his father, and he since passed away. And yesterday he learned the news that his real father is my father. It's just mind-blowing. It's the stuff you find out from those things.
and can we say bio dad, not real father?
Sure.
For those of us who have adopted kids, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, Pete, did I guess your brother, did he participate in 23andMe, or was he found through the chain?
His daughter did. His daughter got on there, and all of a sudden this thing popped up that said, we share the most DNA out of anybody else, her and I, this girl. And I was like, how could that be? Who is this? And then it turns out that her grandfather is my father. So obviously I had some questions, and nobody had any idea that my father fathered a child at age 16.
Wow. I can't get anything closer than like second cousins.
Neither could I. I was like, nothing like this ever happens to me. This is weird and amazing and strange, but yeah.
Does he live close?
No, they all live in the same town I was born in, Lynn, Massachusetts. Yesterday, he found out about all this, but I haven't heard anything today. So I'm just wondering how he took it and what what happens next. It's crazy.
Have you seen, do you look alike? That would be fun too.
A little bit. Not, there's some resemblances, but not too much. He looks more like my father than me. That's just mind-blowing. It's like a roller coaster. Sometimes I go, well, I can just put it out of my mind. It's not that important. And in other moments, I'm like, wait a minute, what? This is the most important thing ever. What the heck? Yeah, it's just weird.
I can understand the feeling, Pete.
Well, and Pete, hopefully he's not on Windows.
Yeah.
Because that would be
Question
really
number 2. What's your
that would
platform?
be overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob, did you feel that same sense of
Well, but it wasn't discovery. It was, my mother and my bio father divorced when I was 2 years old. And see, my name was originally Barnes. White. She married him when I was 5, and he adopted me. I always knew the family was out there, but I did not grow up with them. And back in the early 90s, when they were doing a family reunion, one of my cousins who does a lot of genealogy tracked me down. And I was reunited with my bio family.
That's
neat.
Gosh, that just takes you out of your way.
It did.
That's crazy.
I'm a genealogist, and I do DNA, finding people and cousins and trying to determine how they're related. And it's really an exciting hobby.
It is, Donna.
So much fun.
Yeah. I had a crash course in it this past 3 days because I was like, okay, ooh, boy, did I ever do some research. But, with today's social medias and stuff, I very quickly was connected to the people. But it is fascinating.
I actually run a Facebook page for my mother's family.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Just keeping up, keeping tabs on everybody.
Kind of keep up with each other.
Do you have that set up? Is that like a private group, Bob?
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
And for those of Donna, you probably know about this, but there was a short-lived TV show about the woman who kind of found the Golden State Killer, and it showed how she did the DNA tracking, how it included not just what the DNA showed, but how they then went back in history and then back down. It was very fascinating. So I kind of thought that would be a fun career if anybody could do it, you know. Right. But I'm not starting now. I don't know.
I'm trying to find my great-great-grandmother in the Azores. And the only way I can do that is to find women, well, because there is, every other avenue is closed to me. I'm looking for a female descendant who would take a DNA test, because mother's mitochondrial DNA would identify people in the distant past. So that's what my project is today.
Well, good luck.
Wow, good luck.
And we're quite a few generations away from, like I'm the oldest generation, so there are maybe 3 or 4 generations I'm looking through that are more recent to try to take a DNA test. It's fun.
Well, I hope you find them, and I hope they're receptive to it.
Thank you. It's a good thing.
Yeah, my grandfather didn't want to do it, and I couldn't figure out why. My cousin pulled me aside and said, "Hello, he doesn't want to do it because who knows what's going to pop up out there." And then
how many kids do you have out there, Keith, sowing your wild oats?
None. I'm clear.
So far.
Oh yeah. Who knows?
Somebody come knocking at your door.
Well, actually, when this,
hey, Mr. Lozzi,
when this niece popped up 3 days ago, there was some question: is that my daughter? Because I was 22 at the time she was born. So I thought, oh gosh, this is where my crash course in researching this stuff came in very handy, because I had to rule that out.
You're relieved you have a brother and not a daughter.
And not a daughter, yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks that was fun to catch up with that. I mean, we're 10 minutes after. I don't want to stop the conversation at all, but I also want to be respectful of the time we've set aside here today.
Pete, I have a question for you.
Sure.
This is Keith McMahon. I've been having a problem with an application called 1Password.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. I sent a message to the Wednesday night meeting a day or so before, and it wasn't answered at the meeting, so I'm bringing it up here.
Okay.
I've had 1Password for probably 6 or 7 years. I bought a lifetime license for it. And about a month ago or several weeks ago, it stopped functioning. I couldn't log into it. It wouldn't open. And I sent a thing to their customer support, and I got an explanation that I frankly don't really understand. It says, when Apple replaced the extension gallery with Safari 13, they broke compatibility with 1Password 6, and an update to correct that was never issued because we dropped support for 1Password 6 18 months earlier. With Safari 14 installed, you won't be able to use Passport 6, and upgrade to Passport 7 is your best course of action. Well, somehow or other, Safari got updated from 13 to 14, and I didn't ask for that, or I didn't do anything about it. It apparently happened automatically and caused this program to crash. And now, if I want to use 1Password, I have to sign up for a subscription service. And I thought I had a lifetime license for it. And I'm not getting very good results from Passport support, customer support. And they keep sending me messages that don't make sense. And then I send them another message, they send me something else back. And if you have any suggestions on how I should fix this, I'd appreciate it. I'm also considering dropping the subscription to that and using something called RoboForm. as an alternative to store my passwords and sensitive credit card information, etc. So I can talk more, but I'd like to get your comments about this whole thing first before I go any further.
Let me add a little more info on that, Pete.
Sure.
Because Keith and I exchanged several emails about this, and I'm having the opposite experience. I'm on the most current version of Monterey, the most current version of Safari. I'm still using version 6.8.9 of 1Password, no problem. So there's something's different between his and mine, but
You're on Apple Silicon probably, and he's on Intel.
no, I'm on Intel.
Okay. I'm running a version Mojave because Ken has suggested, and I have a 7-year-old or 8-year-old iMac, which I need to upgrade as soon as I can find something with an M1 chip that's suitable.
Which we may know more about in a next week.
I understand that, but anyway, I'm still running OS Mojave.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here, and for the benefit of the group who's looking on, I think we should step through what's going on here. There's a few things pushing in on you here, Keith, and let's just walk through them. The first thing is that I've been beating this drum for many years. Let me say it again. App developers are very aggressive with their forward-looking roadmap and how quickly they drop support for previous versions of things. It's just the reality of today. Developers are very aggressive. They always develop for tomorrow's technology. They never develop for yesterday's technology. It's just not worth it to them. It's not worth the money to spend to develop for yesterday's technology. There's a little bit of this at play here. Now, Bob, your opposite example throws a bit of a monkey wrench in that, but I will say that yes, Keith, these developers are aggressive about keeping things upgraded. That's not just for their profit roadmap, but it's also because of, like they said in their email, Apple changes things like Safari extensions were added, and that broke their previous workaround for putting 1Password in Safari. So just keeping everything updated as much as you can will help in a situation like this. The second thing here is that the subscription models change aggressively also. These companies will sometimes come out with a product that seems to be worth a certain target amount at the time, and then the worth of that product over time begins to increase as competitors enter the market and stuff like that. So what we see a lot of is you get into an account, maybe you buy a lifetime subscription, but then they change the model, right? They say, oh, well, we're going to change it now to make it $4 a month where you only paid $20 a year or something like that. Hopefully the software developer in this case honors your previous subscription and says, hey, we're going to grandfather you in, and you're going to have a valid subscription because you bought one early. Here's how to access it. Now, what I think you should do, Keith, I think your best course of action now is to go ahead and download 1Password 7, and then it'll be free to download, but there'll be pro features that can be unlocked. Somewhere in the app, it'll say restore purchases. And that's what you'll do. You won't buy anything new. Don't enable or opt into a new subscription, but just attempt to restore your previous purchase. My hope is that this company has coded in the ability to accept your credentials as previously having had a subscription and that you'll move forward. If they don't, right? If you download 1Password 7, you open it up, you log in, and then you do restore previous purchases, and it says, sorry, you have no previous purchase, because sometimes companies do that. They make a new version of the software, like number 7, and then that one has its own set of in-app purchases and stuff.
Okay.
Now, if you were to log into number 7 and it doesn't give you previous purchase, approval, I would immediately write the company and say, hey, I bought a full lifetime subscription, and now that I own number 7, it isn't allowing me to leverage that subscription. What say you? Hopefully they will go, oh yes, well, here's a code for you to continue your subscription. Or they might say, which I've run into before, sorry, this is version 7. We worked really hard on this. You'll have to resubscribe if you want to keep it.
Okay, so let me tell you what I did. I did get a free trial subscription to version 7. and I downloaded it, and it's for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something. And it did restore the purchases, and I can see all of the stuff that was in the old password. I can read it. I can't write any new things in there. I can't enter new data. And
because it's asking you to upgrade your account in order to enter more data, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So
drop-in menu that says I have to activate Dropbox, and I haven't used Dropbox in years. So it's tied into other things that don't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Now this is a good one-on-one support thing too, because you may have enabled Dropbox by accident. That's an option in 1Password, and now it's asking for that. I think if we shared screens for a half hour or so, I would be able to view all of the way you have the parameters set up. Okay. I would be able to seek and possibly find the restore purchases button and really see how you have things set up now. But just for the benefit of the group in closing out that question, this is not uncommon, especially now that the App Store is maturing in the way that it is, and payments are, when we started this gold rush, developers were so grateful to have Apple's platform. They said, take our 30%. We're just grateful to have this amazing platform. Well, now that they've been around for a while, they're begrudging the 30%, and they're finding schemes to create their own on-the-side subscription methods and stuff like that. So it does end up being a bit of a mess for us sometimes. Hopefully 1Password takes the high road and doesn't nickel and dime you to death like some companies like to do. Who knows? I'm not sure if they will or not, but I'd like to look at your screen, figure out how you have your settings set up, and then send you off back to 1Password going, hey, I bought this subscription that got me through number 6. Why won't you honor it for number 7, and let them explain from there.
So how do I contact you to set up the screen share and pay you to be a consultant for me for a while?
Sure, yeah. I'm happy to help. It's just petelozzi@gmail.com is my email address.
Gmail.com?
Yeah, yep. Just PETELOZZI. There's no dots or spaces or anything. And then at Gmail. And I'd be happy to grab 30 minutes with you somewhere and just walk through your settings to see how you're set up.
Okay, great. I'd appreciate you doing that.
Sure thing.
I'm surprised you're using Gmail and not some Apple.
Yeah, that's... I'm surprised too. I'm surprised too. Yeah, that's. So any other? This is a good time, I guess, for Q&A. I know it's not sort of slated for the top of the hour or anything, but I'm happy to continue. Whether you have a follow-up from the last meeting we had, or whether you have something new, I'm happy to do some Q&A.
Just a quick thing, Keith. The reason it talks about Dropbox is that's where 1Password used to store your password information. It had to be stored somewhere. So that's the affiliation there, but it's not necessarily that you need that. But secondly, Pete, I think these are things that happen with developers inadvertently because there's so many scenarios they can go through. And frankly, I promote and really stand behind iCloud password. And Keith, this should be an example that you might want to change. Yes, it's tough, but it's just like when you learned to type. That was tough and it was long, but it's manifested itself over time. I think it's time to possibly make a switch. Pete, what's your thought?
Do I have to enter all of these 75 pages of data into iCloud password to transition, or can I copy it over directly?
I'm not sure of that, but again, it's something you would, rather than just sitting down and putting bamboo shoots under your fingernails, which will feel better than doing that. You may want to just, as you transition, you could do them as they come up, and then just put them into iCloud that way. That way, you're not going through the whole mess and you won't have to drink most of that wine that you have secreted away in the house.
All right.
Probably some of them are in there already.
Yeah, quite a few of them will probably already be there. And the functionality between all of your devices, I think, is great. And Keith, coming up, you're going to be having a brand new iMac, and there's no easier way to get those passwords from one computer to the other with that. 1Password's been a great player, though. I don't want to denigrate them at all. I think they've been kind of the shining star and all that, but I think iCloud. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is such a good example of where you've heard me say, or maybe you haven't heard me say, you're about to hear me say it now. You look for an Apple solution to your problem. Don't third-party software like 1Password, even like Microsoft Word, even like Excel, even like Google Chrome, all third-party software is subject to a world of nonsense that Apple protects you from. Let me run that again because it's just so important. Every third-party piece of software you buy into comes with a world of potential nonsense. Nonsense meaning weird schemes from the developer to get your money, ads that you didn't ask for, functionality that breaks and takes days or weeks to get fixed. All of these third-party properties look attractive because that's their marketing strategy. Let me look attractive to you, like Drive Cleaner and Mac Virus Cleaner and all these things. Their job, they hire people to look attractive to you, just like 1Password. But 1Password doesn't do anything that iCloud Password doesn't do, except polish the frame a little bit. All of your passwords in iCloud Password are stored and accessible just like they are in 1Password. But with 1Password, you have to deal with all of the potential nonsense of a third-party developer. I would be happy to put iCloud Keychain down for 30 minutes at the end of this day if we'd like to spend 30 minutes on iCloud Keychain, just showing you the magic of that you can
Pete,
find.
if not, because I know you've got a lot of good stuff here, I will make that the next class. I mean, it's totally up to you, but I know that you have tons of info, and while we have you, that's stuff that I could do in the next class.
Perfect. But
So,
yeah,
and Keith and everybody else, we're not denigrating 1Password because it has been a good player, but you have to understand Apple's main focus is your privacy and your security. And so what happens is these developers have to work around Apple's privacy and security guidelines to make them work. And that's why these things falter many times like that. Not necessarily a fault of theirs, not necessarily a fault of Apple, but Apple has to put up roadblocks to prevent other things from happening, and that makes it very difficult. Obviously, with iCloud Keychain, it's built right in, so it passes all that, and it's very secure.
You think about third-party apps as restaurants. They're just like restaurants. If you go there and you get bad service, don't go there anymore. Right? If you go to a restaurant and you had a terrible experience, you probably won't go back. With apps like this, it isn't quite as easy not to go back, especially if you're locked into a subscription or something. But app developers are no different than restaurant owners. They own your experience while you're in their app. And if they give you a good experience, then gladly give them your money. If they don't give you a good experience, then do not gladly give them your money. I can't remember in recent history a third-party app developer that gave me a great consistent experience. There's maybe one or two that I would be proud to name, but the rest, just like a restaurant owner, if their heart isn't in it, if they're disinterested, they give you a terrible experience, I take my money right away from them.
And before we get to Mary, she has a question. Al has been posting a whole bunch of links in there, Keith, and anybody else. Those are always, I mean, he's the link master. Those will be available by email afterwards, but you can simply click on it. It's in the chat. But rather than distract from all of this, you can get that stuff later.
I think you can. And Mary, I see that hand up.
Yeah, well, just a comment on the password thing. One of the things that Richard Applebaum continually promoted about the advantage of using 1Password or something is the fact that you can like put in information about your sewing machine or your lawnmower so that if you need to go to the store and get parts. So Ken, when you do the class on passwords, you might include something, what kind of alternatives to putting in that kind of information, because it's a good idea.
I will, and that's it can be done quite easily. There's a comment section in the keychain.
Okay, but that can you, well, okay, well, I'll save that for when you do the thing, but that seems to be an advantage of the 1Password, at least historically, over keychain that I was aware of.
Well, but okay, may I address that though? this is an example of somebody taking 1Password and leveraging its database functionality to do something other than store passwords. I don't begrudge that. You can do that. You can put your lawnmower in there. You can put the serial number, what kind of oil it takes, and all that. But 1Password isn't, you know, it's not necessarily set up for that. But I do applaud leveraging the database capabilities of 1Password for that. I might suggest that you use iCloud Keychain for passwords, so you don't have to have a third-party app to worry about that with. And then something as simple as Apple's Reminder app or Notes app to store things like lawnmower, you know, instruction manuals or whatever the case is. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Richard Applebaum's approach to it at all. But you are using one utility to do other functions that it doesn't necessarily, you know.
And maybe maybe Keychain wasn't as robust when he started it, and maybe it's a personal preference. I'm just saying it was a function that he talked about that sounded very intriguing to, I think, many members. So Ken, if you do the class, I'm just requesting that we talk about that as well.
And yeah, and if you can just send me a note on that, and I'll put that in the thing. So perfect. Thank you.
And thanks, Pete.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and one more thing too is that the problem, it's sort of like iCloud itself. iCloud is not a product that Apple hands to you. 1Password is a product that the developer hands to you. iCloud Keychain is not a product that Apple hands to you. When you want to organize your passwords in 1Password, you launch an app called 1Password, and it has a polished front end that invites you in to operate the features of the app. With Apple, it's always been their philosophy not to make a property out of this stuff, but to leave it in the background. That's why things like the Apple Music app and photos can be so mysterious, because you're not really managing it at the hierarchy level. You're managing it visually, you know, by dragging things around. So the thing that may be an advantage to people for 1Password is that it's a product. The App Store hands it to you, and you can use it. You can open it up and view it. Whereas iCloud Keychain is a function of the operating system. So many people don't understand. They say, I need the app that stores all my passwords. And then they go to 1Password, and that is indeed the app that stores all your passwords. Apple's approach is, we're not going to make an app for you. It's going to be in settings under passwords, and that's where you'll find your passwords.
And if it's working correctly, you won't even notice it. That's the beauty of it.
That's what Apple's approach is let the technology part vanish. And when you go to a website that needs your username and password, let's just fill it in for you. We won't even worry you with it. So anyway, great discussion, and lots of different ways to approach this. But I say, don't use third-party applications wherever possible. And I do begrudge many of them, because they're fly-by-night hucksters who just want your dollars, and they want you to see advertisements. They're no better than like Columbia House was 25, 30 years ago. You know? So, you know, you just got to be careful and only use third-party apps. One, when you truly have identified a need for it. And I wouldn't say there's a need for 1Password because you have something built in, and that you've vetted the developer, that you've asked somebody, you've asked me or Ken or Al or Bob or any of the people here with the background and experience. Hey, is this developer, is this app something you'd recommend? Because there's just so much stuff out there that I wouldn't recommend. And you see also that when we have these discussions, many people raise their hand and say, well, I installed this thing and now it's a mess. It demands my attention. I can't uninstall it. It keeps popping up saying I need to spend $30 on it. Lots of weird things can happen when you dive into a third-party app that's not vetted.
Donna has a hand up.
Okay, Donna.
A quick question. Can I upgrade directly from High Sierra to Monterey?
Yes, if your hardware supports it, you can upgrade directly from whatever version you're on now to the latest.
Will it affect what I have in the iCloud? Because I think I've double loaded my document folder to the iCloud. Just check that.
No, upgrading will bring it'll migrate all of your stuff forward with your iCloud intact. But if you do have something messed up in your iCloud, that's indeed going to come forward. So you may want to track down the issue. You may want to track down the issue you're having with iCloud and address that before you upgrade.
Okay, can I call on you later?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to correspond via email and help out if I can.
Thank you.
All right. Well, great conversation to start off with. I'm a fan of that talk about iCloud Keychain. I think more people should be using that. Where would you like to jump in? We have a few leftovers from last class where I've got a few more things to share with you. I'm going to do a quick recap of the things I already shared for the benefit of people that weren't there, and maybe a refresher for those who were. And we've got the preview app that I'd like to walk through with you today, with a bunch of whining from me about Adobe. So I'm ready to jump in there. I think I'll just jump back in and ask, for the people who were on the Tuesday night general or Wednesday night general meeting, did anybody get that magnifier going? And did you try it out? Did you play with it a little bit? I see some nodding. Yeah. Is that thing amazing to have at your fingertips, or what? It isn't every day we need to read 3-point font on the side of a label or something, but.
Well, it's the Apple serial numbers that we always have trouble with.
That was my example. Is
gray on gray, very small.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, if you haven't seen the magnifier in action, it is usually set up with a triple click of your sleep wake button. 1, 2, 3. If I triple click that, I go into this magnifier mode here. You can see in my camera, and I have the ability to zoom super close on things, and you get this really close up focus capability, and that's the magnifier. Oh wait, there's my eye.
And it's actually a standalone app now too.
Yep. Well, not necessarily. You can only access it through Control Center, right?
Well, no, you can get to it when you do your app search, because it is an actual app now. It has an app icon.
Oh yeah, there it is, magnifier.
That was in 15, I believe.
So we talked about that. Hopefully you've got that set up and you're using that. We talked a lot about Safari and favorites and groups and how to share URLs and how to group URLs. Anybody run into any roadblocks there, or find something that you want to shout about? Like, hey, I found this and it's been great, or couldn't find what you were talking about? No, good. Okay, so Safari, hopefully when you tap that address bar, all your favorites are right there organized so you can easily access them.
I'm really liking the tab groups in Safari these days. I use that quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, for the support for this the
has
Zoom
his
meetings.
hand
I
up,
have
too.
specific. I have a
I'm
specific
sorry,
set
Al,
of.
I keep cutting out.
I have a specific set of tabs and stuff associated that, have locations where I can quickly look at to find files and support stuff. It's pretty helpful. I'll just have to go to that tab group, and then they're all there, and I don't have to reconstruct it every time I have a meeting. So I find that pretty helpful.
Yep, I love that. Like, another example I have for tab groups is I'm remodeling the basement. I've remodeled 3 homes now. I'm remodeling the basement here. And there are times when I want to find the best price on something, whether I'm buying a vanity or I need a new shop vac. So I have a tab group that opens up Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight Tools, Amazon. And then I just go through and put my search term in each of those tabs and compare those 4 tabs to see who has the lowest price. It's really useful for that too. Randy, see that hand up?
Yeah, thanks, Pete. I raised the hand back on the magnifier segment that you were just on. From the Wednesday night meeting, I got in there, went a little too far, too deep into the rabbit hole. Under primary controls, I had changed things all around. Are the 2 best primary controls on the magnifier Zoom and cameras, or would you recommend a better 2 under the primary controls on magnifier?
Let's see, Zoom. Let me go to primary controls.
I just forget what the default was, but I began with.
Oh, default is only Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Under primary controls, yeah, Zoom is the only default. But yeah, you can, I mean, it really just makes the same tools more accessible when you have, you know, there's two states to the little panel in magnifier. You can knock that little triangle up to make it take up a third of your phone, or you can push it down to make it take up a minimal, like 1/8 of your phone. The primary controls will always show on the minimized version. So the only advantage to moving any control into the primary category is so in the minimized version of the controls, you can see that. So not critical there, but yeah, if you want to go back to the default, it would just be Zoom.
Great, thank you very much. And people detection is just a 6-foot thing, and that's all it is?
Pretty much, it just to alert you if there's people in the frame. I don't know of a good use case for that. I'm not sure why you would need this thing to tell you there are people in a certain area. I haven't really figured out a great use case for it. It's fascinating though that it recognizes people when they walk in. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I saw Carol with the hand up there. Hi, Carol.
Yeah, thank you. Quick question. Was Wednesday's class recorded and posted to the YouTube channel? I looked this morning and I didn't see it.
I'm not sure. Does somebody want to chime in on that? I know it was recorded, but I didn't know about the posting part.
Well, I'm going to check because we've got some different links going on here. And so at our board meeting today, we're going to try resolve that. If it was recorded, it may be on Rich's account, so we'll see what we can do. I'm recording today directly to my computer, so it will have to be uploaded, and that may be tough with sketchy internet, so don't expect it right away.
Got it. So that looks like that one's forthcoming. What else? Let me see. Turn this. Do not disturb on. Let me see, I can share my phone screen here. Okay, we also talked about the translator. If I don't know, I'll just a recap on that. There is, Apple created a translator app a while back, but they've added a new mode to the translator app. And the translator app should already be installed on your iOS device. I think it's installed by default with the iOS update. But it was important to note, as we did in our last meeting here, let me plug in as required. Oh, I think I'm going to have to update to. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to share my screen with my phone here, but it looks like it needs an update. Okay, did I do it? Oh, yeah, I should be sharing my phone screen now, right?
Yep. We're seeing your iPhone.
Great. So we talked about the translator app, and we also spent a moment talking about the fact that there's more than one out there. So when you're, you know, if when you do have a need for a translator app, or I highly recommend you just have it on your device at all times. I use an example of, I was at a courthouse going through the metal detector, and right in front of me was a Japanese man who had a knife on his keychain, and they wouldn't allow it through, but he didn't understand that. And so he walked outside and put it down on the ground and came back inside, and they were trying to tell him, you can't do that. You have to go put it in your car. He didn't understand any of it. They were getting frustrated with him. He was getting frustrated. I simply used the translator app and walked over and was able to just allow the Japanese man to speak into it, and then the guard to speak into it, and it did all the rest, translating in the flow of the conversation. It was a remarkable moment and gave me goosebumps to know that this technology is so easily accessible to all of us. However, all translator apps are not created equal. So Google has one that's really good, but it doesn't have a similar mode to what the Apple Translate one does. And there's iTranslate. If you're looking for to follow along with my recommendation, you're going to want this icon here, the black. Let's see, does this show a spotlight? Does that spotlight it? No,
we can see your cursor,
but not the spotlight. Okay. So it's the black background with the teal accents. That's the one that Apple made. The one next to it, you can see here, is the Google version, and then there's an older third-party version here. But this is the one you're looking for. If you don't already have it on your device when you search Translate, you probably just need to go download it from the App Store. Let me take a minute here. I see a couple hands. Roy, looks like you're up there first. Go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, I didn't use this when I was in France in 2021. I used Google, but I tried this, and like where you have the enter text, I entered a text, a word, like help, and if I pull it down, the screen down, then I see that the French word. But as soon as I let go, that's covered up again, which is frustrating. How do I stop it from covering up the translated word?
Okay, so let's say we're going to go from Spanish to English. I'm just going to say out.
Where?
Mine functions like this. I put the word in, I hit enter, and then it shows me the translation. It doesn't disappear for me.
Yeah, mine does. It goes up. So must be a setting that I need to click that I don't know, can't find. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, let's see.
I don't know if you can tell.
See, I can pull down and access previous ones also.
Yeah, if I pull it down, see, I get my word, but then when I let go, it covers it up.
Weird, yeah. Something I'd be happy to look at with you. But for those looking on also, oh, and Ken here, I'll get to you here in a second. For those looking on also, it's important to keep in mind that across the bottom, there's 3 tabs. And the first tab, which is very ordinary, this is, in competition with all the other ones out there, it just translates words. It's that middle tab called conversation that is really where the magic happens, I think. This is where anybody can speak any language they want. It will translate, and then you can speak your language and it will translate to theirs. So Ken, why don't you go ahead? I see you have your hand up and you're traveling abroad. I would imagine you might have had some experience with this.
Well, no, I'm not abroad this time. I'm in Colorado, but so the conversation mode. So first of all, my question is, can you download the languages in the Apple version?
Yes, the languages are downloadable. Yeah, the thing popped up when I first opened the app that says, would you like to download the language?
Okay, so because that's important, because a lot of people when they travel internationally are data challenged. So and the conversational mode, it is in Google Translate also, and you can download the things, but there is full conversational mode capability in there for about the last 2 years. So that's
much different implementation. Of course, I'll cast a vote here for Apple's incredible implementation. For example, let me click this button here to show the face-to-face mode. This is where I'm on my side and they're on their side, right, and we can both just talk into the device. This also is very tactile, where when I do this, they can see a microphone button on their end, I see a microphone button on mine, and it makes it very easy for me to say, where is the shoe store? And then they see on their end, as you can see, it's upside down because they're, we're holding like this. So big fan of the way they've implemented this.
And are they tapping the microphone, or is it just an ongoing conversation, but it just they've split the screen that way?
Yeah, it's just an ongoing conversation. You can tap the microphone if you want, but it'll also detect the voice that's directly toward the device. Yeah. Anyway, like Ken said, there's others out there. I can't imagine one providing a better experience than the one Apple does, unless you're more familiar with it. Familiarity always trumps superiority. So if you have something you're already familiar with, you can stick with that. But I highly recommend this experience.
And don't forget to download the language if you're going somewhere while you're on Wi-Fi, so you don't have to use data, because then it stores it on the phone on either of them. So, and then did you also talk about just straight Siri translation also when you did the presentation? Sorry.
Yeah, we just talked about the ability to simply talk into it with the translation app, and it will just translate the things you're saying. Or you could even type, you can talk or type.
Well, I mean, like directly from the home screen.
Yeah, just telling Siri to translate.
Yes.
Yeah. I opened with that, saying that, the guards who were trying to tell this person that he couldn't bring the knife inside all had iPhones in their pocket, and the frustration level was going up. But to me, it seemed crazy that they didn't know you could just pull it out and ask Siri to translate something for you, or find and open the Translate app. All right. So any questions or observations about Translate? Anybody have anything else they want to share with that?
Pete, one more thing. Does Apple Translate have the camera function where you can read a sign? Because Google Translate does.
I don't think they do, but they, let's see. But the Photos app does. So you can open the Photos app or the camera app. Let's see. You can take a picture of a sign and then translate it. Let's see. Let's click that. I just took a picture of this. I can now select the text.
Hey, now we can all get this free one.
Yeah. Go ahead and feel free to use my code. I can translate this way. Oh, you're not seeing my phone screen anymore because it's on the photo.
No, because in photo you're in presentation mode, but Peter, it'll show up if you are in camera but don't snap it.
Okay, let's see. I wonder if that'll work. Yeah, so you can see here I can point my phone at any sign. This one happens to have some text on it, and then I can hit the translate button and translate that to other languages. This is right within the camera app. It is not as slick as I think it's Google's, where you can just point the phone at the sign and the sign will immediately change to English. It's not as slick as that,
but this is quick and dirty, and that's good. And by the way, you can also not translate it, and you can copy it and put it into like a website or something.
Yeah. Let's see if I do that. I can grab this text here and then translate that. So yeah, it does exist, but I do like the way Google made it. So as soon as you point your phone at the sign, it changes all the letters. I find the gimmick of that to be great, but the practicality not so much. I've actually tried to use it in practical terms, and sometimes the sun's too bright, or it's not bright enough, or I can't get a good angle on the sign. So sometimes just snapping a picture of it and translating that way is probably more useful. It's not the gimmick part. It isn't the oohs and ahs of, look, I can point this at a sign and it changes. But Apple usually errs on the side of utility and not polish or oohs and ahs and something like that. So Translator, I highly recommend it. At least having it on your phone with the languages downloaded. You never know when you'll be in a situation where you could possibly assist somebody who needs to communicate with somebody else. Scott, I see that hand up. Do you want
to? Pete, does the Apple Translate, does that give a voice? In other words, a pronunciation in a voice back to me?
Yes.
For instance, I used in English to French, "How are you?" and I'm not quite sure how you say "Comment allez-vous?" And so, is there a way to get that verbal thing so I know the French pronunciation?
Yeah, yeah. Every translation has a play button by it, so I can hit that play button and hear it spoken back to me.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yep.
Oh, okay. I use it. It's fine. Thank you.
Yep. Sure thing. Then we spent a little bit of time on Control Center. Pulling down from the top and getting this menu here where you have shortcuts to different controls. Really, my whole approach on this was if you're not using this regularly, you're missing out on a lot of very easily accessible things that are often buried. So depending on your phone's hardware model, you're either going to access Control Center by swiping down from the top of your screen or swiping up from the bottom if you have an older model. So I'm going to swipe down from the top on mine, and this is what Control Center looks like. Has anybody not ever accessed Control Center? I think everybody's had to at some point access Control Center probably. What you might not know about Control Center is, first of all, it's fully customizable. So I can decide what icons I want to appear here. You can see I've made some decisions to include one, which is a QR code reader. We've seen a lot of QR codes here in the COVID era, right? A lot of menus at restaurants and different things. They want to be hands-free. So you have these QR codes now. If you didn't know, your camera app, your ordinary camera app will read QR codes for you. Or you can drag down to Control Center and set a QR code shortcut like I've done here. There's a small difference in the way the interface behaves between the two. I have a little QR code on my paper here. You see that little orange QR code? I'm going to scan that, and I'm going to use the camera app right now to scan it. So you'll see my camera app is up. I'm going to put the QR code in view, and you'll see that my regular camera app has framed the QR code with a yellow outline, and it's given me a little button to take me to the URL directed by the QR code. That's what these QR code things are for you to be directed to a certain URL via a QR code. It's the same thing as putting a link. You know, you see a Nike billboard and it says www.nike.com. Well, instead of writing out the link in English, they're now writing it out in this code that can be scanned by a camera. And then if I tap on it, it will take me directly to wherever the QR code author wanted you to end up. So here's where we end up with this QR code. What you just saw was my camera doing the heavy lifting. I opened my camera app and it is noticing the QR code and allowing me to use it. But instead of using the camera app, I can swipe down from the bottom in Control Center here, and I can use the QR code reader there. You see here, it's much different than the camera app where I don't have all those other camera controls, and just putting this in here highlights the QR code for me and takes me right to Safari. So I can easily use the QR code reader as a shortcut from my Control Center. I'm going to get into how to customize Control Center because I want you to be able to do that, but let's look at a few more features that exist in Control Center. Oftentimes you want to maybe disconnect from the Wi-Fi you're connected to or look for other Wi-Fi networks. How would you normally do that? You would go to settings and then Wi-Fi, and then from there you could search for other Wi-Fi networks. Or did you know that you can pull down Control Center and hold your finger down on the Wi-Fi icon? This will open up a whole new control panel where I can look at what Wi-Fi networks are available right from here. I don't even have to go in the settings and look for Wi-Fi. I can simply pull down from the top, invoke Control Center, and access these controls from here. Let's see, Joanne, I see that hand up. You have a question?
Yes, Pete. Back when you were explaining that with the triple touch, I could get to magnifier. And then under there was also voiceover, which I stupidly touched, and now I can't get out. My phone will not get out of voiceover.
Triple tap again.
Accessibility shortcuts. Okay, and now I'm in that magnifier, and voiceover is marked.
Tap it again. Tap it again.
Okay.
No, I mean tap voiceover.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Because that will uncheck it.
It's not doing it. We tried that. I tapped it and it's not undoing.
Then tap magnifier. And what happens when you tap magnifier?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. All right. So you'll have to go to your settings like I am here. I've opened my settings. And you can turn the volume down if you can't stand to hear her talking about it.
I think we haven't been able to get to settings. Oh, wait a minute.
9:57 a.m. Xfinity Mobile.
You can tell Siri to open accessibility settings.
I'll try.
Where's 9:58 a.m. Siri.
Oh, it doesn't want to do that. How do I get to see? I'm trying to get to Siri.
Passcode field. 0 and 4 values and 9, 8, 6.
Is yours a Touch ID phone or a Face ID phone?
Face and touch. I mean, face. Like it.
You don't have a.
All right. Let me jump in here. Joanne, can you get to your home screen? Can you see your apps?
No, I cannot.
Tab C.
Are you in magnifier?
Button. Cancel.
No, I'm in voiceover and can't get out of it.
Well, what happens when you attempt to unlock your phone?
It won't do it. It won't. I can't get out of it.
Can't even shut it off.
I can't even shut off the phone.
By holding.
So now I'm about to slide to power off, and it won't move. It won't let me slide to power off.
Okay, so we're gonna take the nuclear option. You ready?
Okay.
I want you to locate your volume rocker and let me know when you found it.
What's a volume?
Right here.
Yeah, my volume buttons.
Okay, and you the button on the other side is called the sleep wake button.
Right.
Yes. On the other side. Okay. Hold, yes.
So what you're going to do is you're going to tap volume up and volume down, and immediately after that, hold the sleep wake button down.
Volume up, volume down, and now I'm holding the button on the right.
Keep holding it.
Do you get the Apple logo?
Nothing. No, let me try up, down, and then the right button holding it, huh? I'll try it again.
You have to hold both of them.
Do I have to hold the up and the down button the same time? No, one at a time.
Tap, tap, and then hold down the sleep wake button.
Tap, tap.
Which is the button on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tap, tap, hold down.
To notificate power off.
Okay. Slide to power.
Keep holding it. Don't let it go.
Okay.
Okay, without entirely.
Well, now I have a black screen.
That's good. Keep holding it. Keep holding it.
Now I have the Apple.
Keep holding it until that Apple logo disappears.
It did.
Now you can let go. And then press it again. You'll see an Apple logo and it'll reboot.
There it
Oh, the Apple logo came up on its own and is probably rebooting.
Yeah, now you're going to reboot.
That is weird. I've never had that happen before.
I have. It can be maddening.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure. So back to Control Center, I want to show you some other things too here, like with the brightness control, I can hold down on the brightness control and that allows me to access dark mode, night shift, and true tone. You may not have known where to access those things if you didn't know that was a quick shortcut to them, but there it is, dark mode, night shift, and true tone. By the way, those three things, you know what dark mode is, right? Dark mode is when your screen is black versus white. I have mine set to automatic, which means at night I go in dark mode and then the daytime I'm in light mode. Night shift is one that lowers the color of blue in your device at night. So not so much blue is shooting into your eyeballs, because apparently blue keeps you awake. So night shift is helpful if you use your phone late at night but then want to sleep. And then True Tone basically reads your ambient environment and changes the tone of your phone based on the environment. So those three things are accessible also from Control Center. You see here, I've got some home controls, like in my office, I can turn the light on and off from here. I've got a flashlight and some other controls. So let's look at how we can customize Control Center. And I see a hand there from Jamila.
I just wanted to ask one quick question about the translate. Can we only use languages that are ready to be downloaded? Is there no, my language that I wanted to use was Czechoslovakian, Czech, and I don't see it listed. Do I have to go someplace else to find that?
No, I think Translate may be limited to the number of languages that, that it currently has. I think it's limited to this pull down menu here.
Got it. That's what my question was. Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah, that's where Google Translate probably beats Apple, is both in maps and the number of translated languages. But yeah,
eventually I'm sure they'll do that.
Yeah, they tend, yep, they tend to keep building on those things.
Pete, this is Bev. Right along on that. How do you download one of those? Or I mean, I see my list, but how do I make it so it goes if I'm offline somewhere to use?
I think it prompts you when you first open the app, and it only happens once. Let me see if there's a way. Oh, manage languages. Here we go. Okay, so what I did to get there to see which ones you currently have downloaded is I used this little disclosure triangle here.
Okay, so all those that show up are downloaded?
No, at the bottom of that list, it says manage languages.
Yes.
Click it, and that'll show you what's downloaded. See how mine all have an arrow there?
Available for download. Okay, very good. Thank you.
I'm just gonna go through and download all mine now. I thought I had, but I'm just gonna go click all these buttons. I don't know when I'll need German on my device, but it's on there now. Okay, so back to Control Center. Let me show you how to customize this. I'm just going to open settings, and one of my settings is indeed Control Center. You can see that here, Control Center. I'm going to go into Control Center here, and this is broken up into two sections down towards the bottom. One is the controls you currently have in Control Center. That's called included controls. That's what you currently are that's what you currently have activated on your device now. And then below that is all controls that you don't currently have activated on your device that you could if you wanted to. So for instance, like QR code scanning, I don't think that one is by default. You'll probably see that one in the more controls list down below. If you would like to add it to your default Control Center controls, you can just use the plus next to it and that will add it to the top. You can see it's got sound recognition and music recognition down there. Those two are pretty cool. Music recognition will allow you to find out what song is playing by letting your phone listen to it, and it'll identify it for you. So that can be added to your shortcuts in Control Center, making it very easy and quick to grab that utility when you need it. Sound recognition does exactly what it says. It just recognizes sound. So it'll listen and tell you it hears a dog barking, a fire truck in the background or something. Interesting, but I don't know a good use case for it. Then you've got other things like stopwatch and text size. You can change text sizes on the fly and stuff. So what I recommend is you take out the ones you don't use from the top section, add in some that you may use, and yeah, you know how to access your Control Center because it's very handy. Especially like if you're wearing AirPods and stuff, you can get to the AirPod controls, not only the volume slider, but you can also get to whether you want the AirPods to be noise canceling and stuff right from the little volume slider here. So I recommend open Control Center later on when you have some time and poke around in there. Hold your finger down on the buttons to see if that does something different, but you'll probably have some fun messing with Control Center. Roy, I see that hand. What do you got?
I use hearing aids, and so when I answer the phone, it goes through my hearing aid. But the volume is minimum, and I have to pull it up the volume and bring it up to a level where I can hear. Is there a way to stop that from going back to zero each time?
You know, I forget what they call that utility where it sends it to your hearing aids, but I have never seen that screen. I've never used that. So Ken, I think you have a little bit. Do you know, is there a way to set the default volume for conversations for Roy?
Yeah, I haven't seen that be a problem with people that use it. And by the way, you can do the same kind of things with AirPods with the what's called Live Listen. But generally speaking, whenever, you know, the phone, the volume buttons work independently of whatever app or whatever thing you're doing at that point. So in other words, your ringer volume could be set to 3, but your speaker volume, if you're listening to music, could be at 6. And you have to be in that particular state to adjust the volume. But do you use the volume controls, Roy, when you're doing it, or how do you adjust that volume?
Well, I did, but then I've discovered if I click on the screen, on the left is the volume, and if I can touch it properly, then I can move my finger up to turn the loudness up.
Right, it becomes a slider bar.
Yeah, but it's always at 0. So, you know, it's just frustrating because sometimes I'll try. I think the other side, or we have a problem, but in the trunk line or something, and I realize, oh no, it's my phone. It's operator error.
Do you have, does this happen in any of the other apps like music? Because
No.
Okay, then my recommendation is you may want to unpair your hearing devices and repair them. And Al will post a link. You may want to do a hard reset on your phone because that's not typical behavior.
Okay. All right, thanks. I knew Pete couldn't answer it, but I was hoping you or someone else knew the answer.
Pete usually knows the answer. It's just he's not hard of hearing yet.
Yeah. Yes.
I had a nickel for every time I heard that phrase. Pete probably doesn't know the answer, but I was hoping somebody else did. Be rich. No.
Okay. I trust your brain. It's your hearing. You don't need the aids yet. You don't have the experience.
And just to point out, the hearing aids can be accessed when you triple click also. And what happens is the screen comes up. If you have magnifier or hearing aids and you pick which one when you do it, you can have a list of accessible items that way.
All right, continuing down the list, Bob, I see that hand.
Hey, Pete, recently I got a pair of little mini speakers. What do you call them? Little round ones. So it's the first time I've started using the Home app. And my question is, on you know, like the 2 speakers, I named them and they're showing, but okay, like on the kitchen there, it's showing a icon for the speaker, but now on mine to the left of that or right of that, there's another circle with an S apostrophe in it. What does the apostrophe mean?
On this little icon here, you see that?
Yeah, and just to the right of that, there's another little circle with an apostrophe in it.
On what's the device?
The same device, a speaker, a mini speaker.
And is it listed there more than once?
No, there's one icon. There's one square for each speaker.
Wow.
When you go down into the settings here, what do you see down in the setting? Like I hold that button down on the home screen, and then if you scroll up, it'll invoke settings.
In one of the buttons for one of the speakers. Is that what you're saying?
Pete, would
Yeah,
that be,
because
would that be
sometimes
the
they need to
stereo
be
pair?
updated. Sometimes, Bob, they need to be updated, so it'll give you a signal that it needs an update or something. And this is where
I
you
did
would,
that, and I got a HomePod, is what they're called. Okay.
yeah.
And it's giving me a message saying update your iCloud account password below.
I get that a lot, especially after they update. So yeah, down below here, you know, in your settings, you'll get an opportunity to click, you know, update password or enter password. And once you do that, I think that thing will go away.
The problem is, though, there's no place to update to.
Oh, you do it in settings.
First, there's a song, and then there's a new alarm, and then there's a new timer, but there's no box to put a password in.
Well, scroll even further, Bob. Look at my screen. Even further down, you'll see more. You have to get past this little hump. It'll click right there, but once you scroll down even more, you got to force it. There's more stuff under there.
Nope, but that did not work.
Okay, then take this approach. Here, try this.
Just turned on the speakers.
Yeah, oops. Let's see. Oh, it's got to be there. You got to scroll down and keep scrolling. You got to have all this info. It's down there somewhere.
No, after timer, if I try to keep scrolling, it just closes the window.
And you're approaching from the home app, from this front end here?
Where are you again?
Just in the home app. I'm just.
Oh no, I was on one of the icons for one of the speakers.
Yeah, I would say open the home app and then.
Okay, now this, what I get is I see the two icons for the two speakers, and like one dining room, HomePod, and below that it has the word account.
Well, tap on account and what happens?
Well, I'm pressing on, I tap on either one of the buttons. Nothing happens except it started, guess what? It started the music playing again.
How about this, Bob? If you look at my screen in the upper left up here, you have that little house icon in the home app.
Yeah. I don't.
Oh, you don't even have that. Well, you must not be on the home tab. Go ahead and click this tab down here on the bottom, the home tab.
I don't have anything like that at the bottom.
Are you still in Control Center or are you in the home app?
I tapped on the home thing. Let me go back to Control Center. Okay.
Oh, well, the Control Center is going to give you an abbreviated version. You want to be in the actual home app here.
Let me hold on a second. Let me get there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay.
Once you're in the home app, you won't see the abbreviated version like you saw in the Control Center. You'll see the full controls. And if you hold down on your AirPod or HomePod Mini and then scroll, then you'll see all the settings for it underneath.
Okay. Oh, I got what you got now. I can play with it.
Yeah, that's where you'll find all your controls.
Okay.
You can update your account and stuff. Perfect.
Just one of those things that's well hidden.
That's why I like Control Center, because it can get you to places faster that are pretty buried. Okay, Alberta, I see that hand.
Hi, Pete. This is Bertie near Sacramento.
Hi, Bertie.
I just jumped up from a 6X to a new iPhone Pro.
Nice.
I've only had it a month, but this is great. So I so appreciate Ken and you having this MacNexus seminar. So I'm curious. I found out Control Center from the swipe down from the top right, and I clicked on screen sharing. Can you please explain that? I just have my phone is looking for something to share, I guess. Would you just briefly explain that?
Sure, yeah. Your phone has a feature called screen sharing.
Yeah.
And it uses a property called AirPlay, to broadcast what's on your phone screen to another device. Now, Apple builds AirPlay receivers into their other devices, so you could beam your phone screen to, say, your Apple TV or your MacBook Pro. There's also now they're building smart TVs like Samsung TVs with AirPlay receivers in them, so you can beam the content from your phone right to your Samsung TV. If you don't have a receiver, if you don't have another device that's set up to accept your AirPlay signal, then you won't see anything in that list that you're seeing. But like if you open it up in my house, let's go ahead and go here, open up. And this is a list of all the things that can, oh wait, is my screen up? Oh wait, let's see, my screen's not, oh, it's frozen. Oh, here we go. Okay, sorry, back to AirPlay on my device. Here's the AirPlay icon. If I click it, oh, it kicks me out. Anyway, I have a bunch on mine because
you're
I have a
sharing your
bunch of
screen right
devices
now.
that are set up to accept that signal. So if you have an Apple TV or a MacBook Pro and you wanted to beam the signal from your phone to your other device, you would use AirPlay to do that.
Would you show the AirPlay logo again, please?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Would you show the AirPlay logo again from Control Center?
Sure, yep, it's this one. It's this one here.
Well, that's the screen share, but you said you click on AirPlay.
Well, no,
His
screen
won't
share.
display it because he's sharing his screen right now. So
yeah, screen share uses the AirPlay protocol to broadcast stuff. So AirPlay is not really a product. It's the infrastructure that's used to beam the signal. But screen sharing is what you would call it, and AirPlay is what's used to do it.
Right, but Pete, I'm just holding my phone, just checking out the the Control Center, but I'm looking at you through my iPad, but it does not list iPad. It just is a blank screen with the rolling sunbeam going around. Not a sunbeam, just a circle.
Yeah, because iPads are not AirPlay receivers per se. They're AirPlay broadcasters. An iMac with the M1 chip or a MacBook Pro with the M1 chip can be a receiver, or some smart TVs. But yeah, you can't take over your iPad screen with your iPhone. I don't know why. Seems like you should be able to, but anyway.
So in conclusion, Pete, if I want this to be presented on my TV set, which is a Sony Bravia, I need to purchase an Apple TV.
Yes.
That's an app, right?
Apple TV is a hardware device. It's about $199, I think. And you plug it into your TV via HDMI, and that's what you would use to stream and watch TV. So no, it isn't just an app. It's an actual piece of hardware, but that piece of hardware then becomes the screen sharing receiver that uses AirPlay to communicate with your mobile device.
Oh, that could be a St. Pat's Day present. Thank you.
There you go.
Bertie, do you
Yes,
have an Amazon Fire Stick or a Roku? Do you have anything attached to your TV that's like a smart device?
No, I don't.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to check.
Right, and
Well, now you will.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, Pete, this is Bev. I had the experience of pairing my phone to my brother's new LG TV. So I guess that it already had the app in. So it would depend on how old Bertie's TV is.
Yeah, the hardware manufacturers have to build a receiver chip in to use screen sharing over AirPlay. About 2 years ago, they started doing that. So if you do have a TV that was manufactured in about the last 2 years, maybe a little longer than that, then it may show up as an AirPlay enabled device. You may have to go into your TV settings and enable it, and every menu is different. So yeah, every menu is different. So I wouldn't even know where to send you for different brands of TVs and stuff. But yeah, if you do have a TV that is AirPlay enabled, then you can easily use that. I recently bought a Samsung, and it does have that. So it's convenient every so often. Like if we go out for the day to the zoo and we get home, I want to share my pictures with everybody sitting around the couch. I can just share my screen onto the TV and flip through the photos of the day. Things like that are really fun use for it. Okay.
Just in that note, that some of the newer TVs, Apple do have Apple TV Plus as an app you can put on them too. But most smart TVs interfaces are pretty clunky. So what you would do is you would control it with your iPad and then fling it up to the TV using AirPlay, and you still have the controls of a nice keyboard and everything on your iPad.
Yeah. It isn't easy, that's for sure. I wish it was a lot easier to decipher this stuff, but there's so many different possibilities. Joanne, I see your hand up. Are you still on voiceover?
Yes, unfortunately, 4 times I followed what you suggested, and
but now you're signed into your phone, though, right? Show me your screen, please.
Oh, it just went dark.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it on.
There.
And you can't swipe up to unlock?
No. Let's see, I'll try it right now. Nope, not at all.
Okay, triple click again and then show me the screen. Triple click, 1, 2, 3 on the side.
On this side, okay. 1, 2, 3. Can you see it?
Up a little higher?
Too high.
No, that was good. You've got to uncheck voiceover, but for some reason it seems to have disabled your touch screen. It sounds to me like you can't interact with your device at all.
Right.
Correct.
So press and hold the side button and see if Siri comes up, and just say, turn off
voiceover.
Yeah, turn off voiceover. Try that by just holding the button.
Okay.
Turn off voiceovers. You have to say it.
Siri,
No.
turn off voiceover. But she never came up, Ken.
Didn't it all?
No.
Okay, try double tapping it. Oh, well, there's your unlock screen. So now to unlock it, you have to double tap each one, because it's going to tell you whatever your number is. We're all going to hear it, but you need to double tap because you're in voiceover.
No.
Double tap each number.
It isn't. No, it's not responding at all.
Okay, sorry about all these intricate steps, but go ahead and tap the 2 and just show me that nothing happens. Go ahead and tap that 2.
The 2? Tap 2?
Tap, tap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your screen seems to be locked out from any kind of touch.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, from where you are right now, don't turn it towards you. Press and hold the side button. That one, yes. Yeah. Press and hold.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see the Siri down there. Just say launch settings. Press and hold it and say launch settings.
Launch settings.
Let go.
Cancel button.
Let go.
Okay button. Okay button. Settings. Accessibility. Back button. Voiceover on. Voiceover off.
So there's a. See, it says double tap. There's also sometimes you can press the button and release one time, the right-hand button. Press and release it.
Yeah.
Press and release.
Okay. Slide up from the bottom. Try to slide up from the bottom. Okay. What I can't see? It's
the emergency screen.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
What if she called up Siri by her voice?
I've tried that.
Okay.
I can't reach Siri.
Try it again.
Try triple click it right now.
Okay.
Real quick. Okay, now look at that. You've got turn it towards you. You've got a screen.
Yeah.
And say hit the the one about the Zoom, the voiceover.
Yeah, I did that before. Hit it.
Tap it twice.
Oh, it went away.
Got to triple click the side button.
Okay.
And it should come up again.
Yeah.
You have magnifier and zoom, right?
Yeah. Now I will double hit voiceover.
Well, try it once. If that doesn't work, tap it twice.
Okay, now it went away.
Okay, are you in settings? No. Okay, well now hold on. Try to turn it towards you and try to swipe up from the bottom.
Oh. Hey,
Are you?
I could enter my password.
Okay. Well, now what I want you to do is go to settings.
Yeah.
And then Pete will go on his screen. Pete, can you show or hear on your screen how to take off in accessibility the voiceover or Zoom?
Yeah, I've got voiceover.
So go into settings.
It says voiceover is off.
Okay, you're good now. You're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. When you triple click for the magnifying glass, do not click voiceover.
But we want to turn it off as a shortcut for her, Pete, I think.
Okay.
So go to settings.
Mm-hmm.
Accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Voiceover.
And then, oh no, they've got it into different, they changed where it is. It's under shortcuts.
Side button. No, it's under accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not under there.
Another place.
Oh, down below. Go down, Pete. Accessibility shortcut and deselect. So in your accessibility shortcut, you want to deselect the Zoom or the only have magnifier unless you have hearing aids.
Okay, okay. And magnifier is checked off.
That's the only one that you need.
That's it. Yep.
Oh, and you get rid of voiceover.
Don't touch it. It just make sure there's no check mark on voiceover.
There is a check mark.
Uncheck it. Tap it to uncheck it. Tap it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. All right.
Thanks everybody for indulging us on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Keith, I see that hand. Keith,
yes.
would you like to...
Hi, Pete. This is Mary. I'm here with Keith. When you were dealing with Joanne right there, that nuclear option you gave, tap, tap, hold down. Is there any downside to doing that on any iPhone? It's like a hard, what is it called? A hard reset?
It's like zapping the PRAM on your Mac. Remember that voodoo where you hold
yeah. Okay. But there's no harm in doing that.
No.
Is it a good practice to occasionally do it?
I hate to say it's a good practice to occasionally do it because you don't necessarily have to. I do it at least once a week. The reason I do it at least once a week is because all your antennas and radios get reset and relined up with their drivers. All your hard drives and your cameras get reset and relined up with their drivers. I start to see gremlins after a week as a power user being on my phone all the time, all week long. So for me, it's a very refreshing reboot and it makes things snappy right after I reboot. So I do it about once a week.
I'm every couple 2 or 3 weeks, but especially if something is being a little bit missive, if it's just not working right, it's a great way to fix it.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Joanne, let me know if you get any more demons over there or gremlins, but hopefully you're in the clear now.
Well, at least it helped other folks know about this hard reset now. Thank you.
Yeah. You got snagged on a little barbed wire there, but you should be good now. Okay, so that's the control center. We're right about break time. I'm not sure how we handle break time on these. Do we actually take some time or do we just keep rolling through?
Lately, we've been doing the kind of let it roll through unless you need a bio break, but most people can kind of go out for a bit and back. So whatever, if you need a break, Pete, go for it. If not, power on through because we know you have tons of content.
Yeah, I'll keep going. Let me see if I can get a water delivery. One second.
You two guys have a new name, you know that?
Oh, we do?
Yeah, Joanne's Heroes.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll put my badge right here. Hey, could you fill my water? Oh, thank you very much. All right, so we've got Control Center done. I recently found a setting I am so happy about, and it is, it takes all callers that are not known to you and diverts them to your voicemail. So you never even hear the call come in. Now, if you're somebody who has to jump on every phone call that comes in, like my mother, she'll jump up from the table and run and get the phone if she hears it, and she'll answer any call that comes in. I'm from a different era. I don't feel the need to answer calls as they come in. Sometimes I'll let them go to voicemail and then get back to the person. But when somebody calls that I don't know, it's a number that I don't know, I love the fact that now you can set it to just go into voicemail and not even demand your attention. I'll show you how to do that here if that's something you're interested in. It's in the settings app, and it's under phone. So I'm in the settings app. I'm going to scroll down until I see phone, and there's phone there right about in the middle of this bank. And here I'm going to look for, thank you, silence unknown callers, and I have that turned on. That means anytime I get a call from a number that isn't in my contacts or that I've never interacted with before, it just goes to voicemail. It's a silenced call. You guys can email me and thank me later for that. Because sometimes I'll look in my notifications and it'll say, you missed 6 silence calls, but they're all from numbers who don't leave a message. And then when I call them back, it says this number is not in service. So that means it's just some kind of a scam engine calling me. Roy, I see that hand up.
Yeah. When you were helping Joanne and you were in your settings, I saw that you had like hearing aids as one of the things, and I don't find that. So I was wondering how you got there.
Maybe I do. Let's see. I'm in accessibility.
Accessibility and then hearing devices at the top of that column.
Okay, accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that.
You will. It's in settings. Keep looking in settings until you see accessibility.
It's about 20 items down. 15.
I'll start over at the top.
Yeah, make sure you're in the settings app.
And
what iOS
okay, there it is. And touch. Let's see. Oh, the hearing devices. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Scott, what do you got?
Pete, I'm sorry. I was trying to find how you got into phone on this. Can you repeat that one again, please?
Sure.
I'm in settings.
Settings, and then about halfway down on my screen, your mileage may vary. There's a phone option.
Gosh, I don't see it.
If you're using an old version of iOS, they did move things around quite a bit each year.
No,
sometimes they categorize.
I've got the current stuff, current iOS.
Then you're just not seeing it, but it's there. If you're
on
an iPad, if you're on an iPad, you won't see it because there's no cellular usually on your iPad.
Right.
So if you're on your actual phone, though, you should see it.
Yeah, I'm looking on my phone and I don't see phone. I'm looking like notifications, sound, haptic, focus.
Yeah, you're too high up. You got to keep going down.
Okay. Okay. Well, listen, I'll find it.
You can also hit.
I don't want to hold up the.
You can also hit at the top of search. You could type in phone and it'll show up there too. Pete,
thank you.
I have a question now. What I find so weird is back when you and I had those great Sony Ericsson Z5Z whatever they were, Z520A or whatever. We could have it recall. I mean, I don't do a lot of phone calls anymore, but why is there a setting for busy recall?
Oh, no, I guess not. So you mean it keeps trying a number until it gets through?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
And I just can't believe it's not in there. Okay, well and it may be like a carrier issue too. So you know.
Could be, but I don't really hear busy signals very often anymore either. It's usually some recording or something.
Yeah. Well, it was one the other day, so I had to do it like 7 times, and I'm going, why isn't, come on, it's 2022 already.
Yeah, I wish Steve Jobs was still around. That feature would definitely exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Keith, I see your hand up there.
It's me again regarding that phone. When Keith calls my iPhone from our landline, he's got something on our landline that doesn't display what his telephone number is. So he comes in as an unknown caller. If I turn that setting on that you just suggested, I will never get a call from him if he calls me from our landline. Is that correct?
Absolute nirvana. Wouldn't that be heaven?
Count your blessings.
If you could just keep him from jawing at you, oh my gosh, that would be heaven.
So if he really wants to reach me, he has to call me from his iPhone.
Yes.
But that would mean he has to turn his iPhone on, Mary. Because he usually doesn't have it on.
This is going to get him to use his iPhone. Thank you very much.
The other alternative is you can turn block caller ID off of your landline. Right now, you have it programmed either through your carrier to have it off, so you could turn that off.
Yeah. Right, it's like star something. Just before you make a call, you have to put a code in, and it turns it off.
Or you could do it the other way around. You can turn it off permanently and then put the code in when you want to hide your number.
Exactly.
But you have it the other way around.
Good advice. Thank you again.
It's called marital bliss is the code.
Yeah. Tiffany, hi.
Hi. Also in phone settings, there's something called call blocking and identification. And so mine says call identification apps. And so I have something that's unchecked, unoperable, but it's Yahoo Mail. And it says, allow call blocking and identification apps to block calls and provide caller ID. So what would that do?
I'm not seeing that setting on my device, so that might be a carrier-specific feature. I'm with AT&T. Who are you with?
T-Mobile.
Yeah, that must be a T-Mobile specific feature where you can block you can get granular with how you're blocking. I don't have that.
Oh, okay.
Here.
But it says Yahoo Mail is one of my options. Now I do have a Yahoo account, and so I know sometimes Siri will, make a suggestion. Here's a suggested phone number or something like that, drawing from an email in my Yahoo account. So I wonder if it's connected.
So it's not. So I'm on T-Mobile too, and you went to call blocking and identification, correct?
Right.
And in that, those are things you've added, like for instance, Hiya, which is a call blocking app. It's you have to allow it in there. And frankly, I wouldn't allow anything from Yahoo. They're owned by Verizon now, and Yahoo is. I would make sure that one's not on. Okay. And if you hit edit in the upper right, you can actually remove it.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken, are you saying if you have Hiya, turn it on, turn Hiya on in that? Excuse me.
Yeah. In fact, it turns out mine was off, and Hiya is one of those where it kind of uses a crowdsourcing to see what might be spam calls, etc. But most of the time that's starting to be handled by the carrier now. Hopefully they're getting better at it.
All right, well, I'll go to the next topic. That was a good one. The next one is the Measure app. I mean, now Apple came out with an app called the Measure app. And the Measure app leverages LiDAR technology, and LiDAR sensors were built into the iPhone 12 and beyond. So if you have anything before the iPhone, or was it the 10? No, LiDAR was the 12, right? Yeah. If you have anything before the iPhone 12, then you don't have LiDAR, which you can still take advantage of some of the usefulness of this app, but just not all of it. The Measure app has come in so handy for me, whether it be I need a new tablecloth and I want to get a rough measurement of my table, or I'm going to get curtain rods, or I got to go to Home Depot for a piece of PVC pipe. I'll measure the area very quickly with my Measure app and take a picture. If you're not using this, I'm sure you'll have a use for it. I'm just going to pull it up. It's just called Measure, and it's part of your operating system. It should already be on your device. If it isn't, you can download it from the App Store. Just be careful. You want the app that is called Measure and has a black app icon with white and yellow tick marks. Because as you can see, there's lots of third-party apps out there that claim to do what this does, but Apple's is built natively into the operating system and functions really well. If I open the Measure app, I have a couple of different modes down below. You can see at the bottom of my screen, I'm going to put my phone down so it's not all jittering. At the bottom of my screen, I have Measure and I have Level.
Altitude.
Ken, you may want to, I think you came off mute there for a second.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. You can see I have Measure and Level at the bottom. I'm going to put on Level right now. And you can see these dots here. I'm going to set this phone on my desk and it will tell me where Level is. Once I get Level, it'll give me the green light. Or here, I'll put it on the top of my iMac here to see if my iMac is level. And there it is, it's level. I'm at 0 degrees. If it was a tilt, you could see what angle it is. This is nice if you want to measure an angle, like what angle is your banister of your stairs. You can rest your phone right on your banister and it'll tell you exactly what the angle of your banister is using the Level app in Measure. The other thing is I'm going to click on the Measure side of it. And if I come over here and maybe I want to measure the height of this door, you can see I can just click here on the floor and pull a measurement up to the corner here and click again. And there is my measurement of 7 feet there. I can take a picture of that and then
it froze, Pete.
There, let me pull that up. There, I took a picture of my measurement. You see my 7 feet is right there in the center. I've got a line that goes from the top to the bottom, and I can take this picture easily to Lowe's or Home Depot and look for whatever it is I need. So that's the Measure app. It is already built into your device, probably, and has incredibly useful utilities in there, like leveling and measuring. So please make sure you have easy access to that. It is also, let me see. No, I guess it isn't. So that's the Measure app. Any questions about that? Did you find it?
May I ask a really dumb question?
Sure, yeah.
I just downloaded it and I can't find it. Never have had that happen in my life.
Sure, yeah. Use the search feature. So that's when you pull your apps down like this, like I just did, and then you can just type Measure. So you know how to get that search screen. You just sort of flick down. Yeah, and just use that to search for it. I keep mine on the home screen because I'm always measuring something, and that thing is very cool in the way it measures things. Okay, there's the Measure app. How about, let's see. Any interest in the ability to download YouTube videos? Is that a thing people would want to see?
Sure.
Trying to keep a YouTube video they've seen?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me pull that up. One sec.
I have a paid for solution, but it seems to work pretty good.
Yeah. Yep, I've got a free one here, but paid ones are great too. Let me see. Sorry about this.
I used the Firefox one, but it's kind of tricky.
Okay, I'm going to, well, I'll just give you the URL, or Al maybe, well, here, I can post the URL in the chat, I think. It's basically just a website that you can paste the URL of a YouTube video into the website, and it will give you a downloadable link. So let me go to that website now on my phone so I can give you an example of how that works. Now, Al just posted a link, but make sure you find mine. It says from Pete to everyone. That link right there that I sent is directly to a website that will do it for you. Al gave a how-to, which is also useful, but my link gives you a URL, and I'll pull it up now here, a URL that will help you get right there. Let's see. Where the heck? Sorry, one moment. Oh, here it is. Okay. No, that's not it.
I did it in Safari, and it looks like you even have the ability to block ads when you download it.
Yeah.
It might be a pay for thing, but that looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty darn cool. But okay, so scratch that. Copy. Here we go. I'm just gonna put this in here. Okay, so anyway, here's the URL I just shared with you. All you do is you paste in a YouTube link. Now you might be going, well, how do I get it on a YouTube link? Let me show you how to do that. But first of all, make sure you got the link from the chat of Zoom right here. Save that link in your favorites on your Safari so you can always access it. And then I'm just going to switch over to YouTube for a moment here to show you how you would get the URL that you want to paste over there. So I'm going to find a video where I would want to download the video. Here we go, Uncle Roger and Gordon Ramsay. What the heck? I'm going to click the button here to bring up the share sheet. Oh, wow, Google is really making it difficult. I'm going to push the button here to bring up the share sheet, and well, it's going to do that again. Basically, to get the link from a YouTube video, I'm going to play the video here. Oh, it keeps saying content is not supported. That's crazy. Let me try from the Safari app. Sorry about this. Google's doing a lot to keep us locked out. So I'm just going to go to YouTube on the web here. Here we are in YouTube. Each video has a little ellipse by it. You see the little 3 dots. I'm just going to click that. When I click that little ellipsis,
As a business owner, you know this.
Boy, Google's really made me jump through some hoops here. Please disregard everything I've just said. Here we are back on YouTube. You want to get a link so you can download the video. Let's see how to do that. I'm going to go into any video here. It doesn't matter which one. Huge can meltdown. This looks cool. I'm going to open the video. Here we are in the video. I'm going to pause it so we don't hear it. And now I want to share it. I don't really want to share it. I just want the link, but the way to get the link is to hit the share button. So you'll see a share button on YouTube, whether you're in the YouTube app or whether you're on the web, it doesn't really matter. You use share to get the URL right to that video. So I'm just going to use this share button here. And it's asking me how I'd like to share it. Would I just like the link? Would I like to use WhatsApp or Facebook or Twitter or email? I just want the link. And so that's the top choice here. If you're in the app, this may look a little different. You'll probably get the share sheet from the app that says copy link. But one way or another, you just want to copy the link to this video. I'm going to go ahead and tap here on my phone to copy that link. And then head back over to the website that I just pasted and paste that link inside here. When I hit start, this is going to allow me to download the video right to my phone and put it in my video, in the Photos app and videos. So anyway, it's really just that simple. I know I made a lot of talk about it, but I didn't need to do so much blabbering. All you do is you go to the URL I posted, which is the converter that downloads the video, and then find the URL of the video. You just do that by tapping share on the video. You paste it in, and there you have a downloadable video from YouTube. That's come in handy for me many times, trying to get some piece of video that I want to use elsewhere. Just because you downloaded the video doesn't mean you own the video or that you have copyright to it or that you are allowed to share it. I'm just showing you how to download. There could be trouble ahead for if you were to sell that and make money, you know, sell that video and make money, you're at your own risk for those things.
Pete, I got a quick question for you.
Yes.
You know how when you're like in that case where you're using your Google search in Safari or DuckDuckGo, whatever it is, and you click on a YouTube, many times it'll automatically take you to the app, and you know, and I don't want to be in the app. Is there a way to defeat those? And you know, the stupid pop-up that comes up every time saying, do you want to use the like the YouTube app or the whatever it is, you know, is there a way in settings to defeat that?
No, what Ken is talking about is the pesky banner that you see at the top of websites that say there's an app for this website. We highly recommend you use it by clicking here, or the automatic round trip that it does when you open an app in the YouTube browser, you know, the YouTube website on a browser, it takes you over to the app. Both Apple and third-party developers really prefer that you use an app and not a browser to access content. So you're going to see that a lot, is both Apple and third-party developers want to push you into an app, and there is no way to disable it.
All right, thanks. I was afraid that was the answer. It's not the answer I wanted, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And there's some where I'm just frustrated. It's the only way is to open the app. And I'm like, no, I want to stay in my browser. Okay.
I've gone, because like with Amazon, I want to look at my Amazon in a browser rather than the app. So I've gone and I've downloaded I've uninstalled the app is the only way around it.
Yep. What's the advantage of doing it in the browser? What do you like about that?
Yeah, familiarity with my orders and stuff. It's a screen that, you know, in Safari, it gives you pretty much the whole thing. Whereas when you're in the app, it's handier, but if I'm looking for old orders or things like that.
Cool. Carol put a good comment in the chat there, and that was, why don't you just use watch later? And Carol, you're right. For YouTube videos that you just want to catch at another time, watch later is a great way to go. And by and large, that should be your default. Just add it to watch later or add it to one of your other watch lists or playlists. However, there are use cases where like you want to use it in a Keynote or PowerPoint video. You might want to use it in a photo slideshow. You know, maybe the YouTube video is something relevant to you. Maybe a family member posted a slideshow or something and you want to grab a copy of it. Maybe it's a clip from Star Wars and you want to put it in your PowerPoint or your Keynote just to look cool or something like that. This is more the reason why you would need a copy of the video locally and why you wouldn't just use the watch later. Another reason too is if you're into controversial things, politics and this sort of thing, a lot of YouTube videos get taken down because they, you know, one side believes that it's misinformation or something like this. I've used it for that a couple of times going, oh, I know this video is going to get taken down, so I'm going to download a copy of it so I have a record of it or whatever. That's why they say anything that's on the internet is forever. Anything you post online is permanent because you can pretty much count on hundreds, thousands, or hundreds of thousands of people have probably already saved a local copy, whether that's a tweet that somebody sent out or a YouTube video or something like that.
Is this possible for Twitter or any of the other social media?
Yeah, so what we've done here is we've introduced a way for you to grab a video and pull it down off the web. Normally for something that's just one screen, like a tweet, or a Facebook post or something, you would just use the screen capture feature on your phone. Like you would take a snapshot of the screen that would then go in your photos. And then that's the way you would do it with a still image. So if you do see a tweet and you're like, gosh, I want to grab a picture of that tweet in case it gets deleted, you would just do a screenshot. But no, there's no utility that'll say like, go download that tweet. However, one more thing along the lines of this YouTube hack or trick that I've showed you, there is a utility called SiteSucker. SiteSucker, S-I-T-E, sucker. And it will suck an entire website off the internet onto your hard drive, because maybe you want all those assets, or maybe you want to save the website locally, so you can either reverse engineer it or look at it when you're not online or whatever. So if you have ever been interested in downloading an entire website, look on the Mac App Store at SiteSucker. I don't believe it exists for iOS. You would have to look on the Mac App Store. Maybe it's not even on the App Store. I may have had to just Google it. You may have to just Google it, SiteSucker. But there is a Mac version, and I used it just the other day to download an entire website. Oh yeah, it is available on the App Store on Mac. So for anybody who wants to download an entire website, that would solve your problem, Donna, or not problem, but your question about Twitter. You could download the whole dang website if you want using SiteSucker, or just take a screen capture of something.
But Pete, I don't think.
Okay, next up is shortcuts. My goodness, this one is going to be a roller coaster.
Pete, one real quick thing.
And please, this will span the spectrum of easy and oh, that was fun, to complex. Stick with it if you can. I'm going to start out with pre-built stuff, with templates, stuff that already exists in there that's ready for you to play with. But then we're going to expand to creating your own shortcuts. Interrupt anytime you want if you feel like you have a question or you're getting stuck or behind. But we'll probably strap in for a good 30 minutes of talk about the Shortcuts app.
Pete, one really quick question.
Shortcuts is a way for you to string together utilities that exist in your operating system and third-party apps. So basically, Apple built all these services that exist in the background. They're not products to us, but they are services that app developers sometimes take advantage of. We sometimes might want a new way to go about, a shortcut for doing something. So the Shortcuts app accesses all these services that you can then string together to use to your advantage. If you're a simple user, if you don't have advanced needs on your device, you might be going, well, this isn't for me. But the Shortcuts app has opened up a lot of things that you may be interested in. Like, for instance, there's a shortcut that allows you to see where this picture is taken. Now, we already know on our photos, because we can use the Photos app to access our location data and stuff. But what if somebody sends you a photo and you would like a way to find out where that photo was taken? Well, there's a shortcut that you can create, or I think it's a template that you can already use to do things like this. Do you want to create a playlist of the songs you've listened to most in the past 30 days? Are you curious? Would you like to see what songs you've listened to most in the past 30 days? Pull them into a playlist, look at how many times you've played each song, maybe even share that playlist with somebody else. Here's what I'm listening to lately. You could make a shortcut that says, when I get an email from such and such, I would like you to flash the lights in my house. If you have smart home devices that are set up for that. So we're going to start out in Shortcuts. We're going to look at the templates that are already in there. We're going to maybe use one or two of them to see how they work, and then talk about potentially building our own. Rich, what do you got?
Well, I want to make sure we get to preview.
Yeah, preview will be the last half hour.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Shortcuts. Let me open up the Shortcuts app. and it exists on your device already, or at least it should. And I'm going to, now your screen's going to look different than mine. I wish there was a way to restore this to factory settings to get rid of all my existing shortcuts. Well, okay. So I'm in the Shortcuts app. Oh gosh, my screen isn't updating. Let me reshare my screen. It doesn't look like it's updated. Stop, share again. Okay, here we go. My iMac.
For some, there we go. We're getting it now.
Okay, and then let's see. It should be over in Shortcuts. There we go. Mine will look different than yours. Yours, if you've never used it before, the default I think is like 6 or 8 shortcuts. If you're looking at it, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But
how did you get shortcuts? How did you get there?
It's an app on your phone, so just launch the app. Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't have the Shortcuts app, you might have deleted it because it's a default app on your device. If you did delete it, you're going to want to download it again from the App Store, and it's called Shortcuts, and it has this icon here. I'll search for it so you can see. Shortcuts.
Thank you. I found it.
Sure. Yep. If those of you who don't have it, you could search the App Store for it. It looks like this. This is the Apple Shortcuts app. There are a bunch of other shortcutty type things. Don't mess with any of those. Just use Apple Shortcuts app. First thing I want to point out in the app is down at the bottom, you'll see 3 tabs. One tab is for the shortcuts you've already created. One tab is for automations. And another tab is for a gallery, so you can see what other people have created or what Apple has put out. And they even make recommendations for you in the gallery. So I would like to start out in the gallery and see what kind of things they're recommending for us. Let's scroll down. If you're following along, scroll down in the gallery to their categories. Mine has Get Stuff Done, Essentials, Work from Anywhere, Morning Routine. These are all ones that you should see too, because Apple is offering these to you to use as shortcuts. So let's see what they are and why we might use them. This first one for me under Get Stuff Done is turn text into audio. Anybody else seeing the same thing as me, or does your screen have different recommendations? Same, look, I'm getting a thumbs up. Looks like you're seeing the same thing. That would be ideal if you were, because then we can sort of match screens here. But check this out. Even the first shortcut to me sounds pretty impressive. Turn text into audio. That means if I'm reading an email or I'm reading a web page and I want to have it turned into an audio file that I could then share, this is a shortcut to do that. So far, I'm impressed because that sounds like something I'd want. Let me scroll through. Wow, look, here's another shortcut called How Many Days Until. So for that, I would put in a future date. And then whenever I tap that shortcut, it would update me every day on how many days until that future date. That's kind of cool. Let's see, email last image. So there's a couple cool ones in Get Stuff Done. I'm going to go down to Essentials, the next category, and see what's there. Create a meeting note, batch add reminder, make GIF. That's interesting. You guys have all seen animated GIFs on the web and stuff. This shortcut will actually take a video from our photo library and turn it into a GIF that we could then use for whatever we wanted. We could post it on the web or post it on Facebook or something like that. Here's a shortcut called Music Quiz and time tracking, reading mode. So, oh, here's the one I was talking about earlier. Make top 25 playlist. So far, pretty cool. I'm going to keep scrolling down to the Work from Anywhere category. Here's a break timer, start my next meeting, reflect on the day, get directions. Let's see, what's under quick shortcuts? NPR News Now, wake up my Apple TV, email myself something, turn search on, speed dial, laundry timer, directions home. Under featured, let's see what featured has, and then we'll dive in here in a second. Washing hands music, hand washing timer, Shazam and save. What did they say? Now that's interesting. That will run back something you heard so you could hear it again. Message this song to somebody, search link on Twitter. Dang, it seems like there's a lot of very interesting and cool things in here. Let's dive into one of these. I'm going to scroll back up to the top under Get Stuff Done, and I'm going to use turn text into audio. And hopefully you're following along. Let's go ahead and utilize this shortcut. The first thing we want to do is add it to our shortcuts. Because if you refer back to the bottom of your screen, there's 3 tabs. We're currently in the gallery. We want to move this turn text into audio over to my shortcuts so we can then use it. So I'm going to use the plus button, this little plus button in the upper right corner of the shortcut. I'm just going to tap that. What that's done, you see the check mark now, it's added it to my shortcuts. So let me go back over to my shortcuts. And there it is.
3 dots.
What's that?
On mine, it has 3 dots, not a plus sign.
Are you on the gallery tab?
He already has it installed.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're on the gallery tab, you should see pluses and check marks. If you're on your My Shortcuts tab, that's where you'll see 3 dots. So here in the gallery tab, like Bob was just talking about, we got the plus, which means we want to add it. Then when we use this tab at the bottom called My Shortcuts, when we go back over there, now you'll see 3 dots because it's been added. Now let's test out our new shortcut. So I'm going to get out of shortcuts. Okay, I left the app. All we did was we opened the shortcut app. We added the text to audio shortcut into our shortcuts. And now I've left the app. And I may never go back there again. I don't have to if I don't want to. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up Safari. And I'm just going to go to a website with some text on it. Let's see. Here's one. What is this? Oh, not that one. That's boring. Here's another one. What is this? Oh, DNA relatives. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of this lately. This is a lot of text to read. So I want to turn it into an audio file. Maybe I want to send it to my mom and have her listen to it. So what I'll do is select the audio by holding my finger down and dragging a selection here on the audio. Now you've selected, I'm sorry, on the text. You've selected text 1,000 times. I'm sure you do it in Word documents. You can do it in text messages. You can do it on websites. Some apps don't let you do it. So I will say that you can't select text everywhere. But hopefully right now, if you are following along, you're in Safari, you've gone to anywhere, it doesn't matter, Wikipedia page or something that has some text on it, and you've simply highlighted the text you want. That's what I've done here. Now I'm going to use share, because you can see after I've highlighted the text, this little black flag has popped up and you can see share over there on the right. If I click share here, this should be no surprise to you. You see the share screen, you see this all the time. This is where you can share with somebody by text message or email it to them. But I'm going to scroll down a little bit further. And of course, I don't see what I was expecting to see, which is my shortcuts. Why isn't that here? Okay, 1 second. Sorry about this. Let me just go back here. Oh, different one. Okay, well, not quite as easy as I wanted it to be. Let me go back here now. All things remain the same. Sorry. I'm now back here on the website where I've selected the text that I want. And so now what I'll do is I'll tap and get that black flag that comes up with the extra options. Contextual menu is what we call it on a Mac. And then I'm just going to copy that text. I'll hit the copy button there. And then when I go back over to shortcuts, I'll just get back over to my shortcuts app here. And I tap the turn text into audio. It's now asking me to simply paste it in. So I've copied it from the web page. I'm going to paste it in here and hit paste. There's all the text I just copied. You can see it there. And then when I click done, there's a problem with the shortcut. And I just grabbed it out of the gallery too, you would think. You would think it would work fine. Let me try it again, paste, done. There is a problem running the shortcut. Did anybody else run the shortcut?
Pete, they're censoring you.
I guess.
It worked for me.
Well, my goodness, maybe
Pete, you know what? It's because you're. It might be because you're sharing the screen.
Pete, I thought you said you didn't have to go to the shortcut app.
Yeah, there are some shortcuts that don't make you go back to the app. This particular one does.
You can do it directly, like you can see in the black thing. But you know, Pete, this may be a component of you sharing your screen.
Yeah, that could be it. It could not. Maybe it's not completing the shortcut because of screen sharing. Screen sharing does shut down a lot of things. But if you tried it, great. You just paste the text in there. It turns it into a file. That is the difference I want to point out here. You've probably always known that you can hit the speak button. Like if I go back here to the website that I was on, I can tap and hit the speak button here and I can listen to it. That's different than creating an audio file that I can then save or share. So listening is one thing, but the shortcut is used for creating a file. So that was just one, but let's go back to the gallery. And I'm just going to scroll down in the gallery here and let's see, there was one, photography. So what I did was I used the tabs at the bottom of the Shortcuts app to go to gallery. Now I'm back at gallery and I'm scrolling down in gallery and I found a group called photography. So let me grab a shortcut from there and see how that works. Look at these shortcuts. They're pretty cool. One is called Where Was This Picture Taken? One is called Time Machine, Airdrop, Clear Out Old Photos, Clean Up Screenshots, Take a Portrait, Share a Portrait Photo. Let's see, Share Animated GIF, Share Long Exposure. There's a lot of cool things here. I'm just going to use Where Was This Photo Taken? So I'll use the plus in the upper right corner of the shortcut like I did before. I'll click the plus. That turns into a check, meaning it's moved over to my shortcuts down here. So I'll go to my shortcuts. And then I'm going to tap on the shortcut here. It's going to ask me. So when I tapped on the shortcut in the Shortcuts app, it brought up my photo roll. And it's basically asking me, and there's my brother right there, the brother I never knew I had, that I found out yesterday. There he is. So I'm now in the app. I'm going to scroll through and find a picture that I like, and then find out using the app, where was this taken? So let's see. It showed me the point on the map where this picture was taken when I selected it from my photos library. So again, right back to the Shortcuts app. We went to the gallery. We found this shortcut that we like called Where Was This Photo Taken? We moved it over to my shortcuts. And then when we tap it, it brings up our photo library so we can use it to find the answer to where was this photo taken. I'm going to go back to photography and look at Time Machine. I'm going to add Time Machine to mine too.
Apply only to photos taken with that particular iPhone?
No, it'll apply to any photo that has the metadata. Some photos have had their metadata stripped out. In that case, it's not going to be able to find it.
If you take a picture with a camera that doesn't have a GPS tracker to put the metadata in the photo, then how do you use your iPhone to get it into the metadata?
Okay, so
there's several EXIF apps that you can use to edit that information in.
Okay, thank you.
EXIF.
But you can't use this one. Okay.
So yeah, just back to your question there, because it's a pretty good question. iOS used to be limited in what you could do there, but iOS has updated their properties so you can now enter in metadata to a photo that wasn't taken with your iPhone. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I was exchanging a lot of photos with somebody who was giving me, photos from the past and stuff. If I open that photo, it's going to probably, it doesn't let me show you. No, that's.
You see it on your screen, Pete, or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you're in display mode. So the only thing I can say is you could do a screenshot. Anytime you're in photo, it thinks it's you're displaying it.
Yeah. Is there a setting for that? I thought there was. Let's see. Well, in the Photos app, here, let me see it here, go here, take a picture of this, and then take a picture of this. Okay, so now I can show you in the Photos app. Oh, no, it doesn't. My gosh. Here we go. In the Photos app, when you open a photo, you'll see a little letter I down at the bottom, along with 3 other tabs: a share, a heart, and a trash can. This is when you've opened a photo. So you tap on a photo to open it full screen, and at the bottom, you'll see the letter I. When you click the letter I, it will open up this screen, which allows you to add a location, to add a date, to adjust the date of metadata. You can do that all in iOS now in the Photos app. So just look for the little letter I down at the bottom when you open a photo. When you tap that letter I, you now have full edit controls over the metadata in iOS. So sorry about that little detour there, but I think that was a good one. What I did was I went to Gallery. I found the shortcut called Time Machine. It's in the photography section. I found that, and I added that to my shortcuts. So now I'm going to go back to my shortcuts, and I'm going to tap on the Time Machine shortcut to see what happens. And wow, Shortcuts is not doing great today. Let me delete that shortcut, go back to the gallery and add it again. Okay, Time Machine. So when you use the Time Machine shortcut, what it does is shows you pictures from a year ago today. So I think that's pretty fun. I just pulled it up. These are pictures from a year ago. And that's what the Time Machine shortcut does. So I recommend that you go into the gallery and you spend some time looking around. Look at this. On the interweb, they call it. That's the category name. You can speak the body of an article. You can shorten a URL. You can search a list on Google. There's so many things. Learn something new. There's a shortcut for word of the day, image of the day. Using the clipboard, you can take advantage of the clipboard. So the point is here that when you get into gallery, different things are going to appeal to different people. I'm going to use the make a GIF one. See make a GIF? I'm going to click the plus there, and then that's going to put it in my shortcuts. And I'm going to go back to my shortcuts and click on make a GIF. It's going to ask me to upload a video. So I'm going to go to videos here, and it's telling me to upload a video. I'm going to do this one of Larry David. Now, I uploaded a short video that was already in my camera roll. It was a video, so it wouldn't work like, you know, Facebook takes GIFs and stuff. This one will allow you to create a GIF, and it rejected that one. God. Let's see. Just go get this one. Excuse me. Shortcuts is not.
Is that a video format issue?
It could be. I don't. It's saying these videos aren't editable, but they're all just videos in my camera roll. Looks like this one is working. So what I did using the Make GIF shortcut is I clicked it. I went and found the video in my camera roll. It's converting that into a GIF file now. GIF files are really useful to post on social medias and Reddit, and they look good in text. You know, you can text somebody a video, but if you text them a GIF file, it animates automatically in the text feed and stuff. So anyway, if you're interested, go ahead and download the Make a GIF. Here, let's see, did it work? It looks like it worked. Let me save it. Oh, it's compressing the video. Okay, is that now? Yeah, so it's basically turned this into a GIF file. To some of you, that might be interesting and important. To others, maybe not so much. But converting a video to a GIF is something that's traditionally very difficult to do. But here it is. And if 3D printed spice racks, folks. Get yours while they're hot. All right, now I want to talk about, you viewed the gallery. Go ahead in there and find something you like. There's tons of categories and tons of different shortcuts that may appeal to you. There's games and accessibility and widgets and things. So maybe play with it a little bit. Shortcuts are very fun. I'm going to show you now how you might build your own. So this is a little bit more advanced, but let's keep it simple. Let's just do something very simple. So to build our own shortcut, we would use the plus in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to use that plus up there. In the lower left, make sure you're on My Shortcuts. You don't want to be in Automation or Gallery. You want to be in My Shortcuts. Use that plus in the upper right. I'm going to use that plus, and you can see here, it's basically telling you like, okay, name this and tell me what you want it to do. This is where a little bit of sense of adventure and exploration comes in, because there's really no straightforward set of instructions here. You just sort of have to experiment. So I'll just give it a shortcut name. I'm just going to call this test with class. And if I tap on this little icon, it'll also let me change the icon color and the icon of my shortcut. I can change it to, oh, how about that? How about we make a red exclamation point? So test with class. And then from there, after I've created my new shortcut, I can click add action. And this is going to open up a world of different actions that are available to me. So all these different actions, when I click add action, are available, or I can search. So for instance, let's make an action. Let's see. I'm going to do location. So we're making an action. I just clicked location. What I'll do is, let's see, how about get distance? So what I did was I clicked location. I'm going to click on get distance. Okay. And now I can close that. So just to recap, we created the new shortcut. There it is in the upper left-hand corner. It's called test with class, and it's got the little exclamation point. What I did in the shortcut was I said, let's use maps and get distance from current location to, well, you can see here, it kind of reads like plain English. Get distance from current location to, and then end location allows me to click. What should the end location be? I can open that up and change route type and unit. but we have to specify what that end location is going to be. So I'll put current location. And then maybe my work address. Let's just say I put my work address in there. So now what I've just created, and let's test it. I haven't tested it yet, but what I've just created is a shortcut that'll tell me how long it's going to take me from wherever I am in the world. Now I might be visiting here or there to a certain address, which I just put my work address in. You could put home. So you might want to know how long it will take you to get home. You could use your home. Now let's test it. I'm going to go ahead and click the button on my shortcut and see what happens. I clicked it and nothing happened. So I'm going to go back into the shortcut and say, oh, okay, now after we've gotten our current location, we can go in here, you can see the programming actions, and we can set a variable, or we can set...
You've got current location to current location.
Aha, look at that. I meant to do, let's see, get distance from current location to, and I'll just put my work address in there, let's say. There, now I'll close that. Okay, let's test that again. Test. It's not doing anything because I have to specify what I want it to do after that. So after it gets the distance from the current location to Main Street, what then do I want it to do? So I'm going to pull up from the bottom back to my actions, and I'll go to location again. And let's see, I'll say show in maps as the next step. So now I've made 2 steps, and for you advanced geeks out there, you may be noticing that this is a lot like the app that used to live, gosh, what was it called? Automation. This is just like the automation app. Yeah, Automator, that's right.
Check your address, because when you put it in, I think you may have deleted out Buford.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. It sort of finds. Okay, so now I've added a step 2. Step 1 is get the distance from my current location to wherever, because I want to know how long it takes to get there. And I want you to show me that distance maps out. So now let's test it again. I'm going to click it, and there it did. It went over to the Maps app to show me, but I don't have that right. So I would go back in, and I'm going to tweak
edit
this
your 2 address again. It's not all you have is East Main Street there. Paste in your other.
Yeah, I think what it does is takes.
You don't have a numerical number. You just have East Main Street.
Oh gosh, I don't even know what it is. Oh, 115.
Well, let it autofill for you.
It's weird. When I tap the autofill, it takes away everything else except the street. It doesn't.
Right at the bottom, you can check that. Yeah.
I'm just going to do Target.
That's weird.
Target and Buford. Done. Oh, see, that is strange. Anyhow, the way it works is then I would be able to just tap it and it would show me the distance. But as you can see, creating a shortcut is a little bit like programming. You have to get in there. You have to use a little bit of trial and error. You might have to go in and change your next action. You know, I'm going to go back to my actions. Go back to all actions. I have searchable actions here that I can pull up. So it's really fun for those who like to tinker and test. If you liked Automate, or you liked some of the scripting, remember what was that scripting software called in like Mac OS 7?
HyperCard. HyperCard.
AppleScript, HyperCard, yeah. This really brings back a lot of those vibes, but the magic in the Shortcuts app is it taps into all the back-end features of your device. So you can make it text somebody at a certain time when you push a button. You can make a shortcut that says, when I arrive at X location, send a text to my spouse, letting them know I've arrived, and it all happens automatically in the background. I highly recommend you check out Shortcuts or maybe some of the videos Al has probably posted on Shortcuts overviews. But if you're even in the least bit curious and adventurous, you can set up things that are easy to set up with a little bit of trial and error, or you can also use some of the ones from the gallery that might do something that you find interesting. All right, Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, and you've kind of buried the lead, Pete, because what you build in Shortcuts, you can activate all those shortcuts using Siri, and in fact, they go over to your watch and you can activate them from your watch. Mine will open my trunk of my car, mine will turn on all my lights, my ceiling fans, things like that. So it's a lot of work getting there, but once you're there, gosh, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, you can see some of my shortcuts. Like I have one that says play Call of Duty. And that means I want to play video games. So the shades close in the living room, the lights go low, the TV turns on, the Xbox turns on. All these things I've just programmed through trial and error because I have the smart home devices. You can see here in Shortcuts, when you're building a shortcut, you can access all of your smart home devices and you can make those part of the shortcut. So like you see here in HomeKit, I can say control home in Creekside, and I can go in and access all of my smart home accessories right from Shortcuts. So I could tell Shortcuts, when I pull up in the driveway, I want you to turn these lights on, turn the music on, or I could say when the last person leaves home, play music on volume 20 on all the speakers, because you want people to think you're home if you're not home. It's amazing what you can accomplish with a little bit of tenacity, trial and error. This does open a lot of doors, especially if you have any smart home devices at all.
So Pete, you have the Call of Duty mode. Do you have a romance mode?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have a shower mode and a bedtime mode.
Okay.
Which does lots of and I'm also shopping for a shower controller that's controllable by Siri. So you install this thing and you can tell Siri to run the water to a certain temperature and she'll let you know when it gets to that temperature so you can enter your shower. So that's kind of a nice feature. They're starting to make those and I'm seeing those come out now too. Or there's a faucet they have at Lowe's. You can tell Siri to dispense 16 ounces of water at 120 degrees. And the faucet will light up when it's ready. You put your cup underneath. It senses your cup. It fills it up exactly to your specifications and you take it away. It was $700 though. So I don't exactly have that to spend on a faucet, but you know, anybody wants to send me.
And then it'll be a third-party hardware and it won't work after 3 years.
There's always that. Yeah.
Hey, Pete, can you add this to the control center?
Yes, you can add shortcuts to the control center. You sure can. You can add shortcuts as a widget on your home screen. You can tell Siri you want to run a shortcut. They're very versatile. Amazing once you learn how to use them.
I didn't see the option on the control center.
Let's see. Control center.
Just remember, use Siri commands to invoke them. Make your life easy.
Well, I don't see it here either, but you can actually add specific shortcuts to Control Center. I'm not sure. I think it's within the Shortcuts app. Preview. Now we're going to talk about preview. This topic came up.
Deb has her hand up, Pete.
Oh, just a quick question. I have the I don't know if that shows. Yeah, that screen up on the shortcuts. And on Time Machine, it says 6 actions. The turn text into audio, it says 2 actions. What does that mean?
That is a summary of how many lines of code basically that the shortcut will run. 6 actions means it's going to take step 1, which is turn the calendar back a year. Step 2, it's going to gather photos from that day. Step 3, it's going to display those photos. So when it says 6 actions, it's basically telling you, here's how many things I've got to do to make this happen. If you tap the ellipse in the upper right, it'll open all 6 of those actions so you can see what all 6 of them are. And it's pretty complicated. It's coding. It's beginner coding is what it is. And it's fun to dive into, but overwhelming for others, you know.
And
so
also I see when you click on that, you can vary it. Instead of just 1 year back, you can tell it to go to whatever time.
yeah, now you're tinkering, Bev. Now you're in there. You can create your own version. You can say, show me 5 years back. You can say, once you gather those photos, make a video out of them, and it'll automatically string them together in a slideshow. It's amazing what shortcuts can do if you tinker a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay, so the preview app. Oh wait, I do see two more. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the board. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Alberta.
Hi, this is Bertie again. I don't know if you can see my phone. Okay,
yeah, there it is.
It says gallery, and when I click on the icon for shortcuts, I'm always shown this. I can't get back to where we started.
Show me the bottom of the screen there. Show me the bottom. Go over a little down. Yeah, you have 3 tabs down there. Use the tab on the left, and that'll get you back to your sort of.
But then now I see this.
Then click all shortcuts. You've sort of backed all the way out, but go ahead and click all shortcuts there.
All shortcuts.
Now you're in. There you go. That's the right place. There's where you want to be.
Thank you. Now we're healthy. Thanks.
Of course. Yep. Okay. Hi, Tiffany. Oh, yeah, I got Bertie. Yep. Hi, Tiffany.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in that same, screen that says all shortcuts, share sheet, an Apple Watch. What's the point of share sheet?
And that's a mistake I made earlier. For those folks who are following along, I can add a shortcut to share sheet, and that'll make it show up on the iOS share sheet. Everybody know what the share sheet is? It's when you push that little button that has the box with the arrow sticking up out of it. This little panel slides up from the bottom that allows you to share whatever that is with a text message or an email or something like that. The share sheet is a common utility in iOS. Well, this is where you would add your shortcut to the share sheet. So earlier when I found that text and I used share, I missed a step because I have to add it to the share sheet in order for it to work. Anyway, to get back to your question, Tiffany, all shortcuts is really where you want to be. Those other things that you saw back there, Apple Watch and share sheet, those are just categories. But if you go to all shortcuts, you can rest assured that everything is in that one category. So really, those are just ways to categorize your shortcuts.
Okay, so I could select and then deselect if I don't need anything in share sheet.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you can delete them from there. If you hold your finger down on any shortcut, it'll pop open with a little menu at the bottom that says delete. So you can delete a shortcut after you've added it to your gallery if you've decided it doesn't do what you like it to do. One more note on that screen that has the categorization that says all shortcuts, share sheet, and all that. In the upper right, you can make your own folder. You can make a folder called experiment or whatever, and you can categorize it that way too. But really, it's just categorization. All right, thanks for the questions. Great stuff. I want to start by saying, drawing back to a point I said earlier as we get into our discussion about about preview, is that app developers are very much like restaurant owners. The decisions they make greatly impact your experience. And I don't know about you, but if I go to a restaurant and it is evident to me that the owner of that restaurant is making an effort to give me a good experience, I will not only spend my money there gladly on that visit, but I will make it a point to visit often in the future to reward that that restaurant owner, to reward them with my dollars. Because I really feel like voting yes with your dollars to a restaurant that goes out of their way to ensure that you have a great experience is the only way to make sure that restaurant sticks around and that we see more of them pop up like that. I really feel all of that stuff applies to applications and developers like Adobe or Microsoft or Intuit or 1Password or any of these developers. They're just like restaurant owners. They're people who make decisions that impact their customers. And some of the app developers or restaurant owners, if you will, you make great decisions, and they know the impact to their users and they care about that. And I would say Apple is one of them. Apple makes decisions that they're very careful about their impact to their users. They're very careful about disrupting your workflow, and they're very careful about your privacy. Apple is a restaurant owner that would make me want to come back again and again to give my money gladly, because they have proven to me that they care about my experience. If you look at this in terms of app developers, you will see, ask yourself some questions. Has the app developer made decisions that make your experience great with their app? For instance, Adobe. If you've ever installed or tried to uninstall Adobe software, has the experience been pleasant? Was it easy to uninstall or install their software? Did they make it straightforward for you? When you launched their software, did it launch quickly? Was it free of ads? Did it have a good experience or a bad experience? I feel very strongly about both restaurant owners and app developers. I believe that they have a responsibility to prove to us, the people with the dollars in our hands, that they deserve our dollars, and that we should be spending our dollars gladly in those places that deserve it. So restaurant owners and app developers, I have found over the years that Adobe is the absolute worst restaurant I've ever eaten at, and I will never go back and reward them with my money. I have abandoned Adobe completely. I don't use Photoshop, Illustrator, any of those anymore. In fact, there's a European company called Affinity, just like the common spelling of the word affinity. And Affinity, these are 3 books by Affinity right up here. Affinity has a suite of applications to compete with Adobe's. They're called Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, and Affinity Publisher. You can buy each of these on the App Store for a one-time fee of $50 each. Much in great contrast to Adobe, right? Anybody paying for Adobe subscription, the Adobe Creative Suite for the full subscription is $329 a month. I know this because I pay for it professionally. My job allows me to have it, and they demand that I use it for particular things. Even though on the sly, I don't use it. I use my own Affinity software. Now, having said that, having had a front row seat for the past 25 years to Adobe's abusive ways with their users, I have abandoned them altogether. The other day,
you should mention that you were certified with Adobe. I mean, you had a commitment to Adobe, and you've gone, away.
I was all in with Adobe. I became Photoshop certified. I taught Photoshop classes. I really thought that Adobe was the way forward. The only reason that these alternatives even exist is because Adobe has proven to so many people that they're abusive in the way that they operate. How are they abusive, you might ask? When you install software, they unknowingly put a bunch of crap on your machine that you don't need or want. That right there is where I draw the line. If you as an app developer are not transparent with me, but you're asking for my money, absolutely not. You be 100% transparent with me. You make it easy to install, but more importantly, easy to uninstall your software. Now you might go, Pete, why would an app developer who's after all of your dollars make it easy for you to uninstall their software? Right? It doesn't seem like they should, but they should. It's like a restaurant saying, we only unlock the doors every hour for 15 minutes so you can get out. But drinks are only $4.99 and feel free to drink as much as you want between the times that we unlock the doors. No, you've got to make it easy for me to leave if I want to, but you've got to make it hard for me to leave, not by making it difficult for me to uninstall your app, but by giving me compelling service and features that I need. Adobe doesn't do this. So the other day, PDF reading came up. Now I want to talk about PDF because that's a big deal. PDFs are a thing. Whether you buy a house, sign up for a new doctor, you name it, get a gas bill, fill out a form. PDFs are everywhere, and they're important in our day and age. PDFs are a standard for us. So here's the bad news, is PDF format was created by Adobe. And it was created by Adobe decades ago. They created the format, and now they own it. So anybody who wants to use that format must pay Adobe licensing fees to use that format. Adobe loves this because they've released a piece of software called Adobe Acrobat Reader. Adobe Acrobat Reader is a massive Trojan horse to frustration. That's all that is. It's a pile of bloated garbage. The code is outdated. They don't care to update it to today's machine specifications. It takes forever to launch, and you see ads constantly. When you install Adobe Acrobat Reader, you've also unknowingly installed a dozen different things on your machine. And trying to uninstall Adobe software is nearly impossible. So I warn all of you, stay away from Adobe software at all costs, unless you have an argument against that. Unless you say, Pete, I'm a designer and Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator is my main tool, and that's what I use. I'll back off. That's fine. You're okay. If you need that, you need that. For any other reason, though, you need approval from me going forward to install any Adobe software on your devices. You got that in writing. You got to submit for approval to me, and then I'll give you my approval in writing. No, I kid, but so PDFs came up. Adobe owns the rights to PDF, but Apple has bought the right to use PDFs from Adobe. So have other companies. It's still complicated though. Like if you own a PC, it's still nearly impossible to find a good alternative to Adobe's Reader. There's smaller versions that are lightweight, like Foxit PDF and stuff that are great for a PC. But for a Mac, we've been blessed with a program called Preview. Preview ships on every Mac, and Preview is what you should be using for PDFs. There is no need for Adobe Acrobat Reader. Now, here's where the argument kind of devolves. People tell me, well, I pay for Acrobat Reader Pro. And what that does is allows me to fill out forms that are PDFs. Now, if you have a need for this and you use this as part of your workflow, again, you have my blessing. Go ahead. But how many of you can say that you need automated form filling out all the time, and that's why you have Adobe Acrobat Reader? Usually the use case for a PDF is we get an attachment, maybe we have to put a signature on it or something, maybe we have to fill out a few fields and then send it back. I'm going to walk you through that right now, how to do that with Preview on your Mac. First thing I'll do is share my screen and go find a PDF file. Okay, so let me share.
Just to reference, there's a few people that have said they don't mind if it goes over. It's totally up to you. So,
you know, I love my 5 and 6 hour classes. So I'm going to do my best to complete the material in time. So I have 10 minutes, but then I'll certainly stick around like always. I'm going to look for a PDF file. I found one. Here it is. This happens to be a really long one, but it's 34 pages long, but we're going to use it just because it's a good example of a PDF file.
Pete, I've also put in quite a few links there from Apple support for the Preview user guide. So there's a ton of really good stuff in there if people need a primer after the class is over.
Perfect. Love that. I'm just sort of looking at the PDFs I have on hand. I want to make sure I get one that's going to make a great example for us. Let's see. Oh, invoice. This is interesting. Let's see. Invoice. Okay. So I'll use that one, that NVIDIA one. I'm just going to open that up. Now, before I open Preview, I'm going to show you something here. This is on the Mac. We're on the Mac right now. So if you are following along, just to give you context, we are on a Mac. We're not on iOS anymore. And I have found a PDF in my files. It's just any old where. I've done nothing special so far. We're only in the Finder. I'm looking around at my files and I found a PDF. Now, if you've previously installed Adobe Acrobat, you may be seeing a different icon next to your PDFs than I do. The icon associated with PDF files is your visual indicator of what you are using as your default app for PDFs. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing a little white icon with a blue loop on it. I know that's the preview icon. You might be seeing the red Adobe triangle. That's the Adobe icon. What you want to do right now is tell your Mac that I want all PDF files to open with preview only. I'm going to show you how to tell your Mac that I want all PDF files to open with preview only. That's the first step in escaping Adobe's tentacles, is to make preview the default app for PDFs on your Mac. And here's how to do that. I need to find a PDF first. So you would go into your Mac and you would just find a PDF file. You could even use the magnifying glass to search the term PDF and hit enter, and you're going to find a bunch of PDF files. Maybe you could have a Mac with no PDF files on it, which would be unusual, but go ahead and find a PDF file somewhere. Once you've found one, under the file menu, right? And this could get a little dicey because see where it says Finder up here? This is how I know I'm in the Finder. I could be in another app. See how now I'm in Zoom, but I still see my Finder window here, but I'm in Zoom. I got to be in the Finder. So let's make sure you're in the Finder. Select your PDF file, select it like I've done here. And then under File, I'm going to choose Get Info. Okay. And another little box is going to show up here. So I found a PDF on my hard drive. I selected it. I went up to File and said Get Info. I could have right-clicked it and said Get Info, but a lot of people don't really know how right-click works. They don't have the mouse. So for those of you who are comfortable right-clicking, you can right-click it and say Get Info from there, or you can just select it and go under File, Get Info. I saw a hand there. Was that Roy or Rich? Did it?
Yeah, what I didn't do it your way. I just deleted all the Adobe Reader stuff, and it automatically switched to preview.
Yeah, so good point there is if you delete the Adobe Acrobat Reader app off of your device, good luck doing that because it's difficult. But once you do that, yeah, then the only one left is probably preview. So that is one way to do it, is to delete it.
It was a snap. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Well, the problem is you didn't really delete everything. You think you did, but Adobe's got a bunch of other junk in there. So that's really the problem. Is it looks like it's deleted, but Adobe installed probably a dozen different things that are still there. So we selected our PDF file. We said Get Info so we could see this window here. And in this window, there's lots of fun stuff. So if you've never messed with the Get Info window before, this is basically metadata for any file. Shows you the kind and the size and where it's stored. You could lock the file so it's only openable with a password if you wanted to. I'm going to go down to where it says Open With, right? See where it says Open With? Now you may have different selections here. Notice I don't have any Adobe choices in mine. You might have Adobe Acrobat Reader. You might have something else. What you want to find is Preview. Go ahead and select Preview. And then once you've selected Preview and you click Change All, that's going to make it so all the PDFs on your hard drive open with the Preview app. It's basically saying Preview is now the default app for all PDFs on this Mac. Once you've done that and you double click to open a PDF, it's going to open instantly. And remember, this is a 37-page PDF or 31 pages. It opened instantly. I didn't have to see the Adobe icon hopping and wait forever. It opened instantly. And here are all the pages of my PDF.
Hey, Pete.
Now check this out. Yep.
If you don't have Adobe Reader installed, isn't that automatically, you don't even have to change anything. That's what happens, right?
If you don't have Adobe Acrobat Reader installed and you have a new Mac, PDFs are going to open with Preview. Okay. But I found with most clients, people have tried out different things, or sometimes set a default app differently or something. So I don't want to assume that you only have preview. You may have downloaded a different type of PDF reader, but to ensure that PDFs always open with preview, those are the steps you want to take. Now, first of all, I've opened up this PDF and it's very minimal. In fact, you may not even see a thumbnail strip on the side like I do. If you don't, you can just use this little icon right up here that's looks like a sidebar. This icon will allow you to show and hide the sidebar. So show sidebar and hide sidebar here. Now I just want to show you like one of the biggest deals. I work for a Fortune 50 company. I work for Hewlett Packard, HP. In my group, there are times when somebody says, how can we pull a couple of pages out of a PDF? And nobody knows how to do it. This is a Fortune 50 company with professionals. Nobody can do it. Take a look at this. I've opened a PDF. Watch how easy it is to pull a single page out, right? I can grab a single page from this PDF, any of these pages. I'll just grab a single one. I can just pull it out right onto my desktop. So if your mortgage broker emails you a 60-page document and you need only page 7, you can open it in preview and just drag that page out right onto your desktop. Maybe that's the one they want you to fill out. If I use the Shift key on my keyboard, I can select multiple pages, like these 4 from this document. And I can drag all 4 of those out. And now I have a 4-page document with just a subset of what was in that larger document. Using the Command key on my keyboard, I can select intermittent pages. So if I only needed page 2, page 5, page 9, and page 11, holding down the Command key allows me to select intermittently. And then I can drag those off to the side and make a PDF of just those pages. To me, I'm already sold. This is remarkable to be able to add. Oh, I didn't even talk about adding. What if there's a PDF that's 1 page and you want to add it to a PDF that's 30 pages? That's easy. You can just open the PDF in preview, and I'll open a second PDF now so you can see this. Here we go. Here's a second PDF. I'm going to open that in preview. Here it is. I'll show the thumbnails. And so what do I have here? I have 2 PDFs open, right? I'm going to make them both visible. I have 2 PDF files open. One is only 1 page. The other one is 31 pages. I'm going to grab the 1 page, move it over, and make it page 3 of this document. I now have combined PDFs into 1. So you could take 7 different single-page PDFs, combine them together. You can take one 25-page PDF and pull just 4 pages out, maybe just the ones they wanted you to fill out and send them back. It's remarkable how easy it is to simply drag and drop different pages to combine them. But we're not done. The fun is just starting. If you open a PDF like I've done here, and this is a 32-page PDF, there is a suite of tools at the top here. They're very minimal. So at first glance, you might think that preview doesn't have much muscle. There isn't much engine under the hood. It couldn't be further from the truth. Now, take a look. I'm going to sort of jump around in these different document pages here, and I'm going to find something that we want to fill out. Let's imagine this is a form and we have to put our first, last, and email address in a form or something. Well, using this little disclosure triangle here, oh wait, I can even use my gadget. Using the little disclosure triangle at the top of the screen here, I can open this up and another menu is going to appear. Wait a minute. Why didn't that open my toolbox? 1 second. Oh, here we go. Sorry, it's this, it's the little marker now. This little marker up here will open a much more robust toolbox. So I just opened that little marker and you can see there is a little row of new icons under that marker. This set of tools allows for unlimited flexibility for a PDF file. Let me prove that to you. I can use the text placement tool, which is tool number 1, and I can place text anywhere on this PDF file. So let me click that. Oh, I have to do a text box. Oh, here we go. I guess I'm not paying attention, but okay, let me just delete that. I've now put a text box. Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but when the crayon thing, if I pull it down, all I get are colors and strike through or underline.
Not this one. This one over here. This one over here.
Which, okay, maybe I don't.
It's pretty small on the screen. It's the circle with the pointer pointing up.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. That's what opens up this powerful suite of tools here. You can add text. You can select certain things. You can mark it up. Like if you want to use, a marker, you could, you could circle certain things. You can add shapes and arrows. If you wanted to add an arrow to any part of this PDF, you can say, I'd like to move this over to here, or this is where this belongs, or whatever. I can add shapes, speech bubbles. I can say, hey, I want this. All these are editable little these speech bubbles and stuff. So tons of different things you can add from up top here. But if you just want to fill out the form, you can also just put little text boxes here. These text boxes could be moved wherever you want them to be to fill out your form. I'm just going to put Pete Lozzi here, my name, so we can grab this, and I can change from these little tools up here, I can change the font size and color. I can make that smaller and change it to black. I'm essentially filling out a PDF file here. I'm filling out this form. I have the ability to do a signature here. So I can place my signature anywhere on this form. Now you might be wondering, well, Pete, how did you get your signature in there? Let me show you. I got a Post-it note and a pen here. I'm going to sign my signature here with my Post-it note and my pen. And then under the signature icon here, I'm going to say create signature. This create signature gives me a camera option. And if I turn that on and put my signature right in there,
Signatures is awesome.
So what I just did is I took this signature that I just wrote, I used the camera option, and there it is. So now I can drag that signature. It's now stored in here. I can drag that and put it anywhere I want. And it just came off this Post-it note here.
Pete, if you're interested, I just in chat, I sent you a link that's a sample fillable form so you don't have to do the text, so you can show how they can do that. It's down, next page down.
Okay. But this is in Safari now. You want me to download it?
No, but you just go, so you're in Safari and hover your cursor and show them how they can go to PDF when you move your cursor near the bottom.
Oh.
Right there.
Okay, let me start over there. Yeah, so Ken just sent me a link to a PDF file online. I can go down to the bottom of that file, and when I hover my mouse sort of in the middle, I can download the file or open it in preview, and that'll allow me to go fill it out. I'm basically using the same suite of tools that I have pulled up here to fill it out. My advice to you is, in having learned this today, is to open up a PDF file with preview, open this suite of tools by expanding it with the little this little icon right up here, right? You expand that here and play with these tools to see what they do. Some of them are a little fidgety. You just need a minute to figure out how they all work. But once you figure out how to use these tools, there is no more powerful PDF manipulation tool than this. And here's I'll close with this last part. At the end, all I do is do file save. And all the things I made are saved onto the PDF. Here, let me save this. I'll save it to the desktop here. And let me close it. If I open this up now, all of the things I've done, look, remember earlier I added this flyer in, and then I made some scribbles and stuff. Those are all saved to this document now. So I can't think of an easier way to edit and save a PDF file. Oh, here it is. Here's all the stuff we added in, my signatures and stuff. And this can easily be emailed right back to the mortgage broker or the doctor or whoever it is that needs you to fill out a PDF. Could not be easier. Familiarize yourself with those tools and you'll have superpowers. Whew, I did it. Well, I'm 7 minutes late. That's not bad, but it's not good either. But here we are. All right. I went through it well.
Deep breath.
Yes, deep breath.
Crowd goes wild.
And now it's open to you guys. Any questions or concerns or comments? Or I see Rich Pearson. Go ahead, Rich. You might be muted there, Rich.
Okay. Where are the PDF files?
You have PDF files in your hard drive somewhere, right? Where do you store your PDF files?
That's my question.
It's just a document like anything else. It could be in your documents or you could be sent something.
You might not have any PDF files. If you don't have any, you don't have any. But if you do get a PDF file,
well, I've tried to do it.
Generally speaking, when you download a PDF from the internet, it usually goes to your downloads folder.
I'll try that.
The easiest way to make a PDF is you go to the print command and say, open in preview.
You can also just go to Finder, and Finder shows it.
And in Finder, just put in search .pdf.
Well, Rich, but Rich, just to clarify, PDF is just a file type. You could have Word documents, PDF files, Excel files, it's just a file type. So, if somebody sent you a PDF in the past and you saved it, you would have chosen where you saved it. You would have said, I'm going to save this PDF in my documents folder.
Okay.
Some of you who are listening on may not have any PDFs on your hard drive because maybe you've never been emailed one or you've never created one. But others of you who are listening on know the pain of being emailed a PDF, not being able to fill it out or parse it out to just one page or reduce the size. Those people are going to feel very empowered today by learning preview, but others never have to deal with PDFs, and that's okay too.
Let me ask Rich a basic question. Rich, do you have show file name extensions turned on?
All you have to do is go to a Finder window and put .pdf in the search, and it will bring them all up.
Yeah, but more basic, if you go to Finder preferences under advanced, the first choice is show all file name extensions. Go and see if you have that checked on or off.
Okay.
Because that way you
I did put a link to a sample PDF you can play with in the chat room.
Okay, my next situation is in Pages, I write a letter, I go to print, and one of the options is save as a PDF, and it won't take it.
Wow.
Well, what I would do then is in Pages, instead of going to File, Print, and Save as PDF, I would go to File, Share, Export as PDF. There are always two ways to do it. I'll open Pages on my screen so you can see how that looks. So here I'm just going to open a Pages application. I'll open a recent file that I had worked on. And then under the file, so I'm in Pages. This is just Pages format here. under the file menu, under export to, I have the option to export this to a PDF.
Okay.
By the way, this should be the only way you share files is in PDF format. It's just good etiquette. I could send this to somebody as a Pages document, or as you can see here, I can even convert it to a Word document. But whenever you're sharing a file with somebody, you really want to convert it to a PDF before you share it. And the reason why is when you send a file around as a Word document or as a Pages document, all these elements are separate pieces. All this stuff could be moved around and quite frankly ruined, because they're all separate elements that you can move around and change. When you export something as a PDF file, the person on the other end is no longer allowed to move around any of the elements. All the fonts are embedded in there, all the graphics are embedded, so the recipient just has a very lightweight, easy to open file, and we're not worried about everything shifting around because the wrong font was in there or they didn't have a photo or something. So sharing via PDF is really the only way to properly share something.
And in many business environments, they're only allowed to open PDFs because they're implied safer. So yeah, they might not even get it. And especially if they don't have you might have done this really fancy font. If they don't have that font, it's going to look terrible.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Karen, I see that hand up. Karen, and then Carol afterwards.
Unmute yourself, Karen.
I was just deferring because I thought Carol was before me, but I know I should know this. I remember learning it a long time ago and I've forgotten it. I am so confused about when I make Carol will laugh, when I make my book list of the books that we're going to read for the year and I send it out to everybody as a PDF. It can never be altered again by me. Is that correct? Or should I have saved 2 copies, both the Pages and a PDF? I'm very confused and I wondered if you could remind me of all that.
Absolutely. And that's a very good call out. So it's a very good thing for us to cover here, because that's really confusing and really important at the same time, like most important things in life. Okay, let me just open this up a little bit. I'm back to my PDF file that I've created. And this particular file is an announcement file, basically. It gets updated every week. And so obviously, to your question, Karen, I'm going to want a living version of this document that I can edit all the time. And then I'm going to want to export out versions of it to share. So as you can see, I have this saved in Pages as a Pages document. And every time I open Pages, I can edit it. Just like if it was a Word document, every time I open it in Word, I can edit it in Word. But when you're converting to PDF, you're not actually saving the document as PDF. You're exporting a copy. So you're almost like tearing off the top of a pad, distributing that out, but your pad is still editable. So here I have the saved file. I'm going to export to PDF. I'm going to just say, yes, go ahead and put that on my desktop. So I'll put that on my desktop. So now I have essentially 2 versions. I have this Pages version that's still editable. This I would not share with anybody. I would keep this in my files to edit. And then this version that I just exported, this is an actual PDF. This is the one I'll share with others. It's not editable. I can't move anything around. And the recipients have the simplicity of just opening it up and keeping everything intact, the fonts and everything. Now it's time for me to go back and edit this. I can go ahead and edit this file again, maybe remove some of the images, and then file export to PDF as many times as I want and keep tearing a pad off the top and changing it as many times as I want, while always maintaining the saved Pages version that never gets locked in place. That's always editable.
That makes so much sense.
Did I do that justice? Okay, good.
Yeah, but
Karen,
I do want to know if I have, because I didn't understand that. So I'm thinking, okay, PDF is the royal important one. So I think in the past, sometimes I have deleted the pages one because I was getting so confused. But they should be both sitting together somewhere, or do the pages one sit in the pages app and the PDFs?
Yep.
Is that right?
The pages ones, exactly. The pages ones just sort of sit in your pages iCloud area. Let's see, iCloud Drive. Yeah, I've got mine just sitting in the pages. Here they all are, just kind of sitting there. Those are the ones I go back and edit. The PDFs I would put up, like for instance, you would call this book list and you would save it in pages and you would always open it each month and edit it. But then when you export it, you might put that in a folder on your hard drive called book list for participants. And then that's the one you would share, and then you would keep saving them out. So it is a little bit of a way to sort of like organize a file convention in your mind. But yes, I believe just like a block of clay, you'd want to keep that wet and malleable, but then maybe you would tear off a chunk and let that harden. You still have the block that's wet and malleable, but then you have this hardened chunk that you fired in the kiln. That's a PDF. And then you can always come back to the block and make changes.
I wish I'd understood this a long time ago. I'm not sure if I get the correction for what I've done. So if I wanted to, I have a file that has everything we've read from 2015 to 2019. Then I have a separate one that's 2019, 20, and 21. I could go into preview and put them together and make one PDF. Right?
You sure can. Yeah, you can open one of them in preview and then open the other one alongside it, drag that icon over and then combine them. And then you'd have a combined PDF. Yeah.
But I'm never going to have my pages one if I stupidly deleted it a long time ago.
If you deleted it, it's probably gone. Pages can sometimes resurrect files if you have iCloud turned on or whatever, but it's probably safe to assume that they've been deleted. And from now on, keep the pages version and then export like a tearpad PDFs.
Oh,
Karen,
thank you. That's
Karen,
very helpful.
Two things. If you have Time Machine, you could go back in and find the pages version, but that's a bit tough to do. But for simplicity, I like to say that think of the PDF version as a picture of the document, which means you can't do anything except use whiteout or anything like that, whereas the pages version is an active live document.
For any parents,
great
image. For any parents out there who have ever done an iron-on, you know, you position the darn thing and it's positionable until it's not anymore, right? Once you hit it with that iron and you iron it on, that's like a PDF.
No, I really helped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Carol, sorry, I might have skipped over you, but here we go. I got you now.
Well, it was almost a very similar question to Karen's. Is you had the original document that was a PDF, and then you saved it as a PDF. What's in your library then? You have both of them because you did not rename one of them when you did. Do you know what I'm asking?
I do.
In pages.
But just to be pedantic here and to correct some of the nomenclature, Carol, you said saved as PDF. You wouldn't really save a document as a PDF. You would export it. You would export a version out as a PDF, but Pages doesn't even have a save as PDF feature. They only have an export feature.
No, but this isn't even Pages. This is the example you just did, Pete. Did you contaminate that original document that you had? Did you modify that? Do you not have a copy of the original document?
Oh yeah, I still do have a copy because iCloud, and that depends on what software you're using. iCloud saves versions, which is very handy, but something like Word may not. So you do have to be careful because if you save a file, you could save over your changes that you made and then and then never be able to get back to a previous version.
Okay, well,
and a little tip.
Me and Karen, we'll figure it out. Thanks.
And a little tip for that is, we used to have save as was prominent on there. To invoke save as, you hold down the Option key, and it's now not on every program, but that's what you want to do so you don't overwrite.
Right. Okay, that was helpful. Thank you. All right, great session. I got to run. Thanks.
I'm sure others would probably want to run too. I do see Bev's hand there, so go ahead, Bev.
I have basic question. Okay, I understand. Go to file, export as a PDF. Now, where does that go so I could attach it in an email to someone?
When you do file, export as PDF, the very next window is you choosing where it goes. So you can choose to put it on your desktop. You can choose to put it in your documents folder. You decide its destination in the very next step.
And then go pluck it from there.
No, actually, but he missed the last part of your question was for an email. Email is actually an option to activate it to go right to email. So you don't have to save it and then go get it.
However, but let me put an asterisk in there. Some people don't use the default mail app on your Mac for your email. Some people go right to the web and dial up Yahoo or Safari, whatever. So that email option will only work if you use Mail, the Apple app on your Mac, as your mail client. If you don't, then you do have to save it and then go find the attachment and attach it.
Absolutely correct. But another reason why you should.
Yes.
I definitely recommend using the Mail app. Yeah. Okay, we've cleared the board. I don't see any more hands. I love sticking around. So, here's another one, Birdie.
Hi, I just had a call from my Apple store out in Roseville. They have my old Mac and the new M1 chip MacBook, which I just purchased, and they're trying to transfer data. My son, who's an engineer, was here from San Diego for a day. He tried both Time Machine and an external hard drive. Then I brought everything into the Apple store, but they will not take my Time Machine. They cannot do that. But they can't fully transfer the data. Has anyone had that problem? I don't know what the problem would be, but it's a 2009 MacBook.
What operating system were you running?
Well, the old 9 would stop at, was it Yosemite? You could no longer update it.
That could be the stumbling block.
Okay. All right.
There's manual transfer, and that might be the best way to do it. In fact, in your case.
Okay. Well, my son gave up on the Lozzi hard drive and then did it with a Time Machine, but then he had to fly back to San Diego. So I just took both MacBooks into the Apple store, and they've tried to transfer probably 4 or 5 times. So I'm expecting them to call back. I'll have to just
drop me a line, Bertie. But one of the nice things that helps as you get into newer operating systems, if you have your documents in your desktop on the cloud, it makes that an easy way to do it. As old as your OS was, Yosemite, I mean, that's what, 10.10? That's pretty ancient.
I know. Well, it was quits with the Apple support on that. So it was time to get another one, but I didn't expect such a difficult process to occur.
Folks, but yeah, sorry, can't keep my mouth shut here. I gotta say this. This is the reason why, number one, upgrade always. Upgrade always. Upgrade your equipment to the very latest operating system every time. Yes, do it. Another thing is, get rid of clutter. I've worked with so many clients who are so afraid of all their stuff. Where's my stuff? Folks, you shouldn't have stuff. Let me tell you what you should have. You should have a folder of documents. One folder of documents. Now that folder can have tons of folders inside of it. You can organize that one folder however you want. But if I come sit at your desk, I want to be able to ask you, show me your documents folder, and you can open it and you can show me, Pete, all my documents are in this folder. That's step one, is stop having your stuff scattered everywhere. It's only going to drive you absolutely insane. Get all your documents in one folder. Do it. Get them all in one folder. Then the only other things you should have is photographs in your photos library and music in your music library. Can anybody name for me what they have that's so important that isn't in your photos library, that isn't in your music library, and that isn't in your documents folder? So simplifying your tech. What?
My financial accounts.
That should be in your documents folder, right? So simplify the number of tentacles you have wrapped around things. Because when you go to the Apple store, they're not going to spend hours unwrapping your tentacles. If you go to the Apple store and you say, hey, I have one documents folder, could you move that over? And then the other thing I urge you strongly to do is turn on your iCloud drive and allow iCloud to do your backing up for you. Just let it back up your documents folder, let it back up your photos library, and don't fuss with Time Machine anymore, right? The physical drive you have that's backing up wirelessly, only because it's slipping into obsolescence. So Bev's example, or was it Bertie? No, Bev's example is or who's is in the shop, I'm sorry. It's a perfect example of how Apple is baffled and they can't help you. Why? Because we're using legacy technology from years and years ago. And there's a bunch of tentacles wrapped around everything. So they're throwing their hands up going, I couldn't possibly repiece together all your stuff. Just try to simplify, because your simplification and your agility in technology is what's going to keep you going with your tech. If you're bogged down and having to mess with all of this junk, like me, I'm the picture of fitness when it comes to technology, not physically, because I can go from one device to another in a half an hour. I can have every single thing I need on a brand new device in 30 minutes. If I drop my laptop into the sea, I can go by the Apple store, log into my accounts, and be back up and running just the way I was in 30 minutes with only a password. This is the benefits of staying nimble and agile when it comes to technology, to not having a bunch of tentacles wrapped around a bunch of other things and not upgrading for years at a time. This is what it saves you from when you stay on the forefront of updates. You keep your stuff organized, and it's not that hard to do. You just keep it, and that you can easily articulate to somebody like me who sits at your desk to try to help you. Yep, I've got one folder called Documents. That's where I keep everything I need. I've got my photos library and my music library. Those are the only three things I care about. Then people like me in the Apple store can easily help you and get you right back up and running.
To put
one
that
more
in,
thing.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just let me close my rant with this one more thing, and that is applications like Quicken, like Excel, like Pages, like Safari cannot be relied on to be backed up. Applications can't be backed up. Get that through your head now. Applications can't be backed up. So just because you had a computer 10 years ago that had Quicken on it and you want to transfer to a new computer and Quicken was on the old one, doesn't mean Quicken can be on the new one. Applications cannot be backed up. So every time you get a computer, you have to reinstall the applications that are important to you. Now, if you're the type who has tentacles wrapped around everything, chaotic tentacles wrapped around everything, you're never going to get back to the way you were when you have a situation like this. But when you minimize your use to just those apps that you need to do what you need to do, and that you don't put a bunch of investment in all these third-party apps that claim to do all this weird stuff, keep things simple, that's going to get you so far in technology. Sorry for the rant, but I think it's the thing that's most overlooked. Everybody's got this huge thing of baggage that's weighing them down. And it's, I don't know where my stuff is. I've got a bunch of tentacles and everything. I haven't updated in 4 years. That's what, and it breaks my heart to see a bunch of people so enthusiastic about technology have to carry around all this baggage and be bogged down by it. Stay nimble, stay agile, and know where your stuff is. Get all those tentacles cleaned up and be able to go from device to device with very little trouble. I'm telling you, your tech world will open up. Sorry for the rant. And Ken, your rebuttal, please. But
no. I agree. I agree with everything Pete said with one little caveat. But we have to remember, we're talking about a 13-year-old machine. This is not something that's very common when people upgrade. Most of the time, the upgrades go very smooth. But when there's a 13-year, and probably in the OS, my God, 10.10, that's probably at least 8 years old in the operating system. You know, it's kind of like at some point the parts house doesn't have parts for your car when your car gets too old. The only place you're going to find it is the wrecking yard, and that's not denigrating your computer. But I agree with Pete, and I totally believe in the iCloud for documents and desktop and all that backup. But there's nothing wrong with, in addition, having a time machine backup. I'm not saying time machine backup should be the only thing. 3-2-1 is the backup strategy. You should have 3 copies of every file. It should be on 2 different types of media, and 1 should be off-site. So therefore, if you have a time machine backup, and again, if you're using iCloud Drive, you don't have to be as fastidious about backing up as often, but you should back up with a time machine backup, because you do have an extra thing to fall back on. And it's easy to do, and I've done enough restores where that's been the only way people have gotten pictures of their wedding back and things like that. So that's in addition to what Pete said. I'm not saying in place of.
Kind of reminds me of the COVID argument. Like, I can't argue. There are people who, yeah, yep, okay.
Pete, look. You've got people with a lot of old machines. I'm not saying not to do what you say. So can you tell me that extra is not better?
Yes, I can tell you extra is not better.
Okay.
Why?
And I remember you losing data in the past, and I've never lost data. So let's use that as an example.
Love it.
Well, but nothing. I mean, really. It pains me when people lose things that are very special and there's no way to recover it. So why not give them a second avenue?
Yeah, I like it. Bev, I see that hand up, or Karen.
Yeah, this is going way back to the beginning when we were talking about using Translate and how to go into the camera. And I've done that on mine. I'm trying that, but and I can see where there's brackets around the print, but how do you get to Translate then?
I highlight the text, and then that little black flag pops up. And
I stay in camera mode, or you take?
Yeah, you're still. Yeah, you can stay in camera mode, and
how do you highlight the text?
You said the little brackets popped up.
Yeah, there's 4 brackets. Yeah.
And in the lower right corner, is there a little round icon with a square?
There's a circle back around.
Yeah, round icon. That should give you, like, if there's text.
Well, that just reversed me to FaceTime or not.
The little round icon.
Yes, with the lines in it. Yeah, okay, yes, got it now.
Got it.
And then, okay, so that's highlighted, and then I see Translate. Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Bev, go ahead. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was Karen.
Apple has a great video on that, and it's called Live Text.
Live Text. Okay. I'm smiling listening to you, Pete, about reducing the tentacles, because I think that's what so many of us are doing with our physical possessions in our homes. Yeah. And it's very much the same thing. And so when we talk about having lots of the backups or the multiple ways to back things up, to me, that represents why I have too many packages of extra felt pens just in case. And I don't know, it's very similar, that streamlining your life. But I would guess that once you get these 3 main categories that you recommended, then your next step is to be sure that within documents and so on, that you've got a nice handle on how to access, making folders and labeling them accurately. I think I have hours, I probably have years of work to do that, because they're in different folders and I need to put them together. But that's the next step, right?
Well, yeah, maybe, but my mentor, this guy, he's the smartest guy. He's got like a Steve Jobs brain. He's the smartest guy I know. he was sharing his screen the other day, and he was pulling up a file for me, and he had no folders. And I said, Alex, you have no folders? He goes, nope. I put everything in one folder, and it's sortable and searchable by date, by topic. To this day, I'm shook. It blew my mind because I, like you, Karen, have probably invested hours in folder schemes and alphabet. Well, I don't know. And to this day, I struggle with it. This genius, this guy I revere so much, he does no folders. Every time now I look at mine and go, okay, I'm going to switch to no folders. I'm going to take all my folders out and just do one big folder of files. I'm scared. It's like jumping off a bungee cord platform. I'm scared to do it, but this guy's really smart, and probably got real good reasons for doing it. So I'm looking at that. But yeah, you can either obsess over a folder structure. And then here's what happens to me, because I think I have a pretty good folder structure. I don't trust myself. So when I'm looking for something, I go, well, I probably don't even have it, because I don't go in those folders and look. But sure enough, if I do go in 5 levels down into folders, there's the thing I was looking for. I was organized enough to put it where it belongs. So I don't know, is folders good, or is no folders good? And that's probably good. There's probably books written on not having folders, but
anyway. Pete, you have yours in folders, but you still have the full search capability. So you're not losing anything other than minutes in your day.
Right. And between Alex and I, this conversation was more on a PC where the search is garbage. Macs have really good search. So there's a better argument on a Mac for not having folders, but for a PC, it's kind of mind blowing. But anyway, okay, good conversation there. Donna, I think you're back up. And you're muted again, sorry. That pesky mute button.
This goes with what we're talking about. One last question. When deleting docs and folders from my iCloud drive, do I just drag them to the trash, and are they deleted from my computer if they happen to, I mean, somewhere someone told me that I have all my documents on my computer also. So.
Yeah, so two parts to this answer. One is, yes, iCloud keeps a local copy on your machine and a copy in the cloud. There's a feature you probably have turned on the Mac that says when I start running out of room in my machine, keep a copy visible to the user, but its actual weight exists in the cloud. So if you were starting to run out of room on your machine, you would still see every file you have. It would look like it was there, but when you double clicked it to open it, a new step would be introduced where it would have to download from the cloud before it would open. So yes, there is a copy that you can see on your machine. Everything you see there is fully backed up to the cloud if you have indeed opted into iCloud Drive. And yes, deleting something from there and then emptying the trash will delete it permanently.
From the cloud though?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you even get a warning that says this is going to be deleted everywhere. Are you sure you want to do this? I think.
Okay. And dragging it to the trash is appropriate. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's how to delete.
Okay. Thank you.
Only if you never ever want to see it again.
Right. Well, I've got 2 of everything, 2 places. So yeah, I do.
she's a 3-2-1er. All right, Keith.
I think I have to agree with Ken on one thing. I want to keep my time machine backup. With all of this cyber warfare and hackers and things like this going on in the world, what's to keep at some point the whole Apple iCloud from crashing or being destroyed or something? I want to have a copy of my backups in my house, and the only have to worry about is my house burning down. And I have a copy of that in my safety deposit box if that happens.
That's a sound argument. I'm with it. I like
as long as you have the other one off site, which we used to say keep an external hard drive somewhere else, but the cloud makes that so that it's very convenient. And so the double backup strategy is with that. But believe me, there's nobody more robust. And to me, that's the least reason that I would have it in the cloud, because, a time machine backup, because Apple's servers are redundant across many locations. They have, I don't know what they're up to now, 5 or 6 locations, and your data is stored on all of those in completeness. So if anything happens.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, one's up just west of, or just east of Sparks, Nevada, going out towards Tesla, and it's huge. And the biggest solar farm you'll ever see is running it.
And their record is nearly spotless for
Absolutely
for accidental loss. I don't think there are any cases of actual accidental loss, like, oh, this just disappeared. So they have a very good record. But Keith, your point about uncertain times and the things that are going on in the world, I'm with it. I agree with you that sometimes the only thing you can trust is a safe in your closet, you know. So I like that. I like that perspective.
Yeah, it's kind of like money in your house and money in the bank.
And here's another thought. When we die, we won't need any of this shit anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And the kids don't want it.
They might want my stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, not your data, but your stuff.
Oh, no, not that. Okay, Bev, that hand's back up.
Oh, a real basic, almost too embarrassing to ask question. We're talking about iCloud, and I have my Finder screen up here also on my little MacBook Air. And I know my pictures go up to iCloud because they'll go over to from my phone to my iPad, but documents, how do you save something, or can you do it simultaneously to the iCloud plus to my files? Documents.
That's that's both the beauty and the sometimes frustration about the way Apple does things. You almost want to hear a ding or see a pop-up that says, okay, it's been saved in both places. But as long as you've opted into iCloud Drive,
and your iCloud Drive on, but how do I know if I've opted in?
As long as that toggle is on, as long as iCloud Drive is on, it should also say what's included, like your, here, maybe I can share my screen and help out there.
Well, when I click on in Finder, when I click on iCloud Drive, nothing comes up. I mean, there's just 3 white columns.
Right, there's a way to find, here, let me share my screen and show you where to find that info. I'm just going to go, okay, here we are at my desktop. I'm going to go under the Apple menu. We have system preferences under there.
Okay.
So that's Apple.
Okay.
And then in system preferences, you would basically click your iCloud account here. Maybe you have to, your Apple ID. Sorry, yeah. So from there, you click your Apple ID. Should be up here in the top bar. And from here, you're going to see iCloud Drive somewhere. Where is that?
So it's not the iCloud in system preferences. It's not the iCloud icon there.
Well, you might have an older OS that has an iCloud icon. If you have an iCloud icon, click that, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm still on Mojave.
Okay. So this is the screen you're looking for, though. So clicking the iCloud icon should take you to this screen here. And it might look slightly different, but what you're looking for is this iCloud Drive, and that it's checked.
Okay.
And then under options, you want to see.
Okay, mine is not checked, so I should check it.
You should, yes, because you were not backing up to iCloud Drive. Yep.
Because I pay a small amount to get the extra storage, so.
Yeah, me too. And I'm only using half of it, as you can see here. So yeah, make sure you opt into iCloud Drive, and then there are going to be options like, do you want to back up your desktop and documents folders? Do you want to back up all this other stuff? So yeah.
All right, great, thanks. Pretty basic question.
Tiffany.
Okay, well, when I was looking in system preferences and going to privacy and seeing what items were checked as far as file sharing, I share with some other Zoom groups in Google Docs, but I can't see any reason to leave Google Drive having access to other things. There's a list, like, do I check under Google Drive, again, in privacy settings, and it's network volumes, downloads folder, documents folder, desktop folder. I don't need any of that shareable if I'm just sharing with Google Docs, right?
Well, it's hard to answer that question because a lot of system services rely on those boxes being checked. Like even something as simple as dragging a file from your desktop into a Google Drive folder or something. Sometimes it needs those permissions in order to do this type of thing. So I wouldn't turn any of them off if they're not bothering you. But if you do turn them off and you notice some inconsistencies in your ability to share or download, it's probably that. I wouldn't mess with it though unless it's bugging you.
Okay, and then I understand that the former backup and sync that Google always had has vanished or disappeared or has been supplanted by Google Drive for desktop. So first, any comments, and should I delete anything that's the backup and sync with something that's now obsolete?
Yeah, it's really an ugly space because everybody's competing for your not only dollars, but your, like Google's free, but you're their product, right? You're their revenue stream, so they're not really free. Everybody's competing for your eyes and your files. And so I would just pick one and go with it, like iCloud Drive, and then yeah, disconnect from Google, disconnect from others, because you really don't need Google to govern your backups and Apple to govern your backups. You really just need to pick one and go with it. So yeah, I would disconnect yourself from others if you've chosen one that you like.
And don't forget that Apple's big arm here is privacy, security, and safety. And so if you want to choose a place to keep it, that's where you should keep it.
Yep, Donna. And Donna,
yourself, please.
You're on mute. That pesky mute, but the space bar will do it too. I use the space bar to mute and unmute.
I'm done. Thank you. You answered everything for me.
Oh, okay, great. Al, welcome.
Quick question about HomePod minis. If I'm listening to some music or a podcast and I want to play it all over my house, I have like 5 HomePods of different sizes. How can I choose all of them? Is that a capability?
Yeah, you just tell her to play it everywhere. Say, ahoy, Siri, play this everywhere, and it'll go to all your HomePods. That's what mine does.
Nice.
Yeah, I wish that worked all the time, but it gets a little finicky, especially like I've got 7 in the house, and they do have a tug of war. Sometimes they malfunction. At 5, you probably experience it too. Like one won't start, and sometimes they pair together weirdly. There's a lot of quirks with the Air HomePod Mini software.
Okay.
And Pete, on that note, with the to have 2 iPod Minis be stereo, you just manage that in the home?
Yeah, you can create a stereo pair in the Home app.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, and Bev, are you?
Another great class, Pete.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy we went an hour over. It was great spending this time with you guys. I'm sorry we went an hour over. I didn't mean to monopolize your afternoon, but I'm glad we got to get these questions out.
So Pete, quick, I think simple question. With iCloud Drive enabled, so things are shared up there, does that, are you familiar with Backblaze?
Yes.
Yeah. So does the iCloud Drive basically do the same thing as Backblaze?
Yep, get rid of Backblaze, any third parties like that, get rid of.
Okay, because I've been thinking about signing up, but hearing your lesson about staying in the Apple universe.
Yep. Yeah, Backblaze is just a conduit for ads and spam, and it's garbage. So yeah, just use Apple's iCloud.
Plus, it runs in the background, and that can slow things up in your computer too.
Okay. So with things enabled to iCloud, plus I have Time Machine, and then if one saves down like Roots Magic, I do genealogy, so I have my third-party Roots Magic instead of Reunion. I would just need to have somewhere the information to download it again if I had a total corruption, because
That's why it's so important to save your license codes. You know, usually these companies, you buy it, they email you a license code. They say, here's your license code. If you ever need to download it again, you're going to use this code. I would put that code in a little, you know, open the Notes app and make a notes of license codes and stuff and just paste them in there. But yeah, those are critical to getting yourself back up and running. Usually you can contact the company and say, hey, I lost my license code. Can you reissue it? Some companies will, some companies won't, but it's good to have that saved for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for the extra hour. I had a great time. Looking forward to seeing you again next time. And yeah, thank you very much.